Hey, welcome everybody to the NonSequitur Show after show for the Aron Ra Jeranism Battlefield Earth after show. Yeah, I'm done, by the way. I'm done. I need to go get something to drink. I don't have anything to really add to this anymore. What the hell was that? I mean, look I've been trying to, Kyle and I have set these things up, and we love to have honest dialectics. We love to have discussions. And I've dealt with Jeranism before, and I understand that he's very sophistic, and I understand he uses a lot of rhetoric. But I have never seen anybody for 2 hours do nothing but give rhetoric.
I think what it boils down to ultimately is that he just has questions with the current data and, things like that. And so, although he might not have poignant answers, it's coming from a place of generally being skeptic and not being able to kind of, convey that or what specifically his issues with that would be.
I mean,
he's a hyper-skepticism is the problem.
I think there's a difference between skepticism and denialism, though.
Yes, he's total denialist.
He's just as bad as Debbie, if not as a fast talker.
Oh, but we love Debbie. We love Debbie.
Debbie seems to be popular. I'm not sure why. I'm honest.
Now, do you want an honest answer to that, Steve? It's because it really. It's the picture. It's the picture.
Well, that's. I agree with you. Yeah.
Why do you think "Let's Talk About You" gets much more views than other?
Oh, are you saying that Shannon doesn't have the skills to pull it off?
She does. She has the skills and the looks. She has everything.
She has.
I don't
She has
know
the
if
full
Debbie's
package.
much popular as she is infamous at this point.
Yeah. But you're right. I think Debbie's that picture does help add to the people wanted to see her. However, after 5 minutes of talking to her, she uses the same. Actually, she's even worse sometimes when it comes to the rhetoric. I mean, we had a video of a rocket going up, and she
was a bottle rocket.
Yeah,
it was a bottle rocket.
It's a bottle rocket. No,
Built a model, and the shadows didn't match. Obviously, clearly disproven.
You just want to pat her on the head and go, "They're there."
Is the shelf level? Is the shelf level? That's all I got to say.
How do you not understand that concept? How do you not get the difference between flat and level?
I begged Red to actually show one picture, and that's just a tire on a car. Because the outside of the tire is still level with the hubcap. All the way around, but it's not flat.
That's too difficult. That would have never flew.
Wonton wants to come in here. He's a flat earther. Absolutely.
Oh, yeah. Come on in,
but
Wonton.
Wonton, I have a hard time figuring out how to get him in here. Wonton needs to figure out a way to message me like all you people did on G Plus or Facebook.
Wonton, I'll email you the link, Wonton.
Okay, can you get it, John? Okay. Yeah, you have his email, so there you go. Beach, hey, did you want into? We were running out of room here. I was trying to get a couple more flat earthers in, ones that I know. Now, I did talk to Orphan Red. She says she might be on next week. Now, she, of course, did not feel like we were giving Jeranism a chance in that discussion. And I want to reiterate, for the record, this discussion, like the Hovind discussion, was not set up to be a debate. This was them having at it, and they wanted us to intervene. They would have asked us. So we stay out of it until about an hour into it. Then we start, having a more of a free-for-all, or when the live chat just says, okay, this is getting stupid, and then we got to change it up a little bit. I think
these past 2 days, I'm done with Flat Earth for a while.
Welcome to our world. Sean's been doing this for how long?
Going on 3 years.
You're a masochist then.
He should be like this at this point, just drooling and just. Sean, props to you.
But I will say that my weed dealer definitely loves Flat Earthers, so I've had to double stock on my normal quantity.
In my defense, Steve, I do like to learn things. I'm a sponge for knowledge, and I've actually learned
quite a bit. Yeah,
I've learned quite a bit because of the flat Earth, and I've actually gotten to the ability to where I can actually run experiments proving the Earth is a globe.
I can see that. No, there's some reasoning to that. Yes. On the downside, though, when flat earthers get their narrative out with no opposition, do we even want to give them a panel though? I mean, that's the hard part. I don't know.
What do you think about the study or the survey that was done that suggests that a third of millennials between a certain age now consider that the Earth might not be round?
Yeah, I messaged the Romy Millennial on that, and I'm still trying to get a hold of her. I want her opinion.
Well, they're skewing the results of that because they had 4 categories that they put people in: people who believe the Earth is flat, people who think it is or think that it is but has problems, people that think the Earth is round, people who think the Earth is round but has some issues. And 34% of those scored in those other 3 categories, and they're saying they believe that automatically that it's flat.
No. That's not what they said. If you actually look at it, and I don't think it's skewed.
They
What
said
they
it,
said was
question if
they
it was
questioned,
filled.
right. The 66% weren't sure of the shape of the Earth, and that would be if they didn't check that first one, then they're in the other category. See, I would have checked the first. I know the shape of the Earth. It's not a matter of just believing. I obviously believe it's round, but I also know that
It was 33% though. 66% said it was round.
What does Wonton think?
Flat.
Well, Wonton, can I ask you a question specifically?
Yeah.
Sure. And this was kind of the main focal point that couldn't convince me. I'm open to new information. So what is your best reason that leads you to believe the Earth is flat? What is the number one reason to convince us? Number one.
Number one. Well, I would say that obviously we do not feel anything spinning, and then we do not see any curve at any altitude. So the null hypothesis is that the Earth is flat and motionless, simply because that is the hypothesis which fits in direct, perfect accordance with Occam's razor. If you add any other scenario or mathematical equation, or E equals mc squared, or the inverse square law, you're adding more to the most pragmatic deduction of the fact that you do not see any curve, therefore the Earth is flat. You do not feel anything spinning.
Can I reply to this real quickly?
Yeah, then I'm going to add 2 things.
Sure. Before you explode, Brian, please.
Brian doesn't explode. Brian's mellow one.
Yeah, we need to like have a I don't know, a pay to answer the question. Who's going to bid the most?
Really go out of mind.
All right, let go ahead. Kyle, you had something to add, and then
I was just going to add that he was about to explode. That's all.
Oh, he was not going to explode.
Go
ahead,
my response to you, Wonton. I'm just going to respond to a few things. My area is statistics. So when you mentioned the null hypothesis would be the naive model. The naive model would be no model at all, which is basically we don't know what the Earth is. So we need the naive model.
Oh, you are triggered, Brian, aren't you?
Yeah, that's you mentioned statistics, null hypothesis.
I know your field.
That's all
right. You would be right about that if we didn't observe that the horizon is flat, and we didn't observe that we don't feel anything spinning. So if I don't feel anything spinning, I'm led to believe that we're not spinning.
I was going to address the spinning issue here. We don't feel the speed we're going at. Like when you're in a car, you don't feel the speed of a car. What you feel in a car is the acceleration or deceleration of a car. It's like when a plane is taking off, you feel that you get pushed back to your seat. But when the plane is in air, you do not feel the 180, 200 miles per hour that you're going. Much like on the highway, you don't get pressed to the back of your seat. You feel, which is the calculus, the derivative, the acceleration. You do not feel the current speed. You feel the acceleration / deceleration. So the fact that we don't feel the spin has nothing to do with it. So you can't say we're not spinning because we don't feel it. What that would imply is that the spin is a constant spin. That would imply that the spin is constant. Well, you could argue that there's no spin, but you can't argue that we're not feeling the spin, thus there's no spin. It's just that the spin is not accelerating, decelerating mathematically.
What he's saying is that if something is traveling at a constant velocity, you're not going to notice it. It's only until you change velocity, which is acceleration. There's no such thing as deceleration. There's only negative acceleration.
There is acceleration with the Earth's spin, though, centrifugal force.
Well, I mean, there's minor variance, but reality is unless it's something that's going to be of a magnitude where you notice it, you're not going to notice anything if you're traveling at a constant velocity. You don't notice if you're in a plane going at 400 miles an hour at 40,000 feet. You don't notice it. Now, if that plane all of a sudden stopped, you're going to notice it, right?
Fine, sorry.
Because that's because of inertia. And the other thing you mentioned about Occam's razor, I think you have a misconception about it. There's something called the law of parsimony. And the law of parsimony is basically where Occam's razor comes from. And it basically says, given 2 competing hypotheses with equal explanatory power, you take the one with less assumptions. The problem that you're running into is your model, which doesn't even exist, so it cannot even have.
Well, you're assuming that it doesn't exist. You're already asserting something that you're already asserting.
Okay, do you have a model that we can look at?
I don't need a model for the null hypothesis. The null hypothesis is automatic.
Null hypothesis.
True.
Hang on. Okay, if you're testing a model, then you have a null hypothesis that is something you reject to accept the claim of the hypothesis. But what I'm telling you is you have to have 2 competing hypotheses that can have equal explanatory and predictability in order to really apply the law of parsimony or the Occam's razor. So if I said, hey, I see this and I can explain it this way. I see this and I explain it this way. This requires a shit ton of assumptions, right? Like the heliocentric model requires very little assumptions compared to the geocentric model. The geocentric model requires a shit ton of epicycles and everything. Which one's more parsimonious? Well, clearly the heliocentric model. So if we look at observations, I think Brian would ask you, what model do you have to offer to say, okay, this is the model that has less assumptions that show us equal and predictive abilities, and we'll have like the panel kind of evaluate that while I go get a drink because I'm far too slow. Thank you for the super chat and thank you for the kind words in the live chat. Thank you. We had a good show.
Let's address this guy's spinning argument. Okay, so there is some force that is trying to fling us off the Earth as it spins. Do you agree with that, Wotan?
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you calculated what that force should be mathematically?
No, but I know it's centrifugal force, right?
Yes, it is. I've calculated. I've actually spent the last couple of days in Nathan Oakley's channel talking about this. So do you accept that the acceleration towards the ground is 9.8 meters per second squared?
I'm pretty sure that that's what it is. Yep.
Yep. Cool. Been measured. That's good. We can calculate the centrifugal force in those same units, meters per second squared, and it's 0.03 meters per second squared. Do you think that you will feel that?
I don't know what those figures mean.
Well, there's the force of what we would call gravity, and it's not. It's of magnitude 9.8. All right. So if you're at the equator, it will be 9.8 minus 0.03, so 9.77. The strength of gravity at the equator, 9.77. If you go to the poles, it will be 9.80. Do you think you could feel that difference?
So 9.80 compared to what again?
9.77.
9.77.
Yeah. Do you think you could actually feel that in your body?
Well, depends. I mean, I don't even know if your math is correct, first of all. Second of all,
we can go through the math.
I mean, it's really a huge difference from the North Pole to the equator. I mean, you're talking about a very large difference, and you're only saying that's only like a 0.3% difference.
Just out of curiosity, Wanta, would you possess the skill set to determine whether his math is correct or incorrect? I mean, do you know enough trig or?
No, show me the formulas.
Well, I'm asking you ahead of time. Do you know enough math where if he presents to you math, you'd be able to recognize the math? Do you know the difference like cosine and sine, that kind of stuff, or
no?
What an angle is or something, that kind of stuff?
Angle?
You know what angle is, yeah.
An angle, yeah.
Okay. Well, we had a person the other day, Debbie doesn't seem to understand what an angle is, so.
They didn't understand flat and level. So Wonton, just you accept observations, right?
Huh?
You're kind of going on observations, what you can see, right? What you can get.
Yeah, Occam's razor. I'm all about that.
So if what you've seen had no explanatory power, it wouldn't be much of an argument, right?
If what I was seeing had no explanatory power? Yeah.
Like when you're saying that you should feel the motion of the spin, you understand no one's suggesting acceleration, that we're saying that it's spinning at a constant rate, correct?
Well, honestly, when people say, oh, you don't feel spinning, you don't feel yourself moving in an airplane, I do feel, movement in the airplane.
Yes.
Right?
So,
and you do feel movement in a car. You do feel like you're moving. It's not like I'm sitting in my house right now.
Technically, you're feeling the changes.
So if you look at people on a bus or a high-speed train, okay, and they've got the little bars to hang on to, right? When they're parked, everybody's fine. They're not moving. The train or the bus takes off, you'll see everybody kind of pull to the side, and then once it gets up to speed, they kind of just level out, right? They're fine. They don't really need to hold on anymore because it's only the change in speed that you feel. After the speed stabilizes, you don't feel it anymore. And since nobody's suggesting that the speed of Earth's rotation is actually changing speeds, we wouldn't expect to ever feel it. So when you say, well, I don't feel it, so it can't be spinning, it doesn't have any explanatory power because we wouldn't expect that anyway.
Okay, I understand your argument, but I can actually disprove right now that the Earth is not. I can disprove that the Earth is spinning.
Okay, let's go.
And I can use the number one proof that the Earth is spinning to disprove that the Earth is spinning.
Go ahead.
Just like I can with gravity. So first of all, obviously you must believe if the Earth is spinning, that we have a force called well, not a force, the what's the name of it?
Coriolis effect.
There you go, Coriolis effect. Right. So you believe that?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a real effect. We've observed it, and we have to take it into account.
Okay, so snipers on the ground have to take into account for the Coriolis effect when they shoot bullets?
Yes, after a certain distance they do in their dope book.
Okay, so how come airplanes are not affected by Coriolis effect?
Because planes can do something that bullets can't.
They can steer.
Yeah, they can adjust. They have the ability to.
How do you adjust? The Earth is spinning 1,000 miles an hour. The fastest that a plane is moving is 500 miles an hour.
Do you know how a plane works?
The Earth is spinning 1,000 miles an hour. A plane is flying 500 miles an hour, right?
A bullet, once a bullet leaves the muzzle, or once it leaves whatever is shot it out, it's on its own trajectory, and that's why you'll see it appear to have a curved path. But a plane, it can actually adjust. It doesn't.
Right, but what if the plane is not adjusting? What if the plane is just flying straight and the pilots are not adjusting? Then the plane would go under Coriolis effect, right?
Yes.
So you just agreed that if you do not steer the airplane, it's gonna undergo the Coriolis effect, right?
And how many planes do you see that never steer?
Yeah, at that point you're not even really
question.
You're just driving a glider.
You said that if the pilot does not adjust the plane to account for the Coriolis effect, then the plane is going to go under the most amount of Coriolis effect, right? That's where you're going to see it the most.
Now, what you're forgetting is when they set up a flight plan, they set up waypoints. They do that because they have to steer to the waypoints. And that takes into account.
It's because I'm setting up something.
Yeah, you're setting up a straw man.
No, I'm not setting up a straw man. I'm not setting up a straw man. You're straw manning me by saying I'm setting up a straw man. I'm not setting up a straw man.
No,
let's see how it plays out.
You're saying, what if pilots don't steer? The problem is that they do. So you are setting up a straw man.
What if they don't? I'm setting up a hypothetical situation. What if they don't? What if they just fly straight? Just for the hypothetical situation.
If they fly straight and never adjust their trend, or they never adjust their path, they will be affected by Coriolis.
Okay, thank you. So how come a helicopter, when you fly just above the ground, that you don't steer it at all? How come the Earth just doesn't move underneath you?
You don't understand the Coriolis.
So you don't know the Coriolis effect.
You don't understand the effect.
But that is the Coriolis effect because the Earth is moving underneath you.
No. That's not how it works. By the way, Steve Bauman, thank you for your super chat. Message me. Yes, I will get you in as promised. But for some reason, Steven, you just don't come up in my G+. I don't know why. So message me and I will get you in. But you don't understand. You cannot have the effect if you're stationary. It doesn't work that way. Have you ever gone to Wiki and looked at? They even have a GIF on this of a record. And if you take a marble and the marble's traveling a straight line, and as it moves, as the record's moving, it appears to have a curve. It has to be moving in a certain direction in order to experience it. If you're just hovering, you're not moving.
If you have the marble above the disc and you have a point on the disc is gonna, you're gonna be, and then if you have the marble above the disc, right, and the disc is turning underneath it, and then you drop it again, it's not gonna fall in the same spot.
The reason if you're hovering, the atmosphere is a fluid, and the atmosphere is dragged along with the Earth. It's moving at the same speed. You literally are not doing anything different by going in the atmosphere because you're moving at the same speed as the Earth still, because the Earth is dragging along the atmosphere. You don't experience the Coriolis effect unless you're actually moving in a specific direction.
So you're saying that the atmosphere is dragging the helicopter along with the Earth as it's spinning.
The Earth is dragging the atmosphere.
The Earth is dragging the atmosphere. The atmosphere is dragging the helicopter.
The Earth is dragging the atmosphere, and the atmosphere is dragging the helicopter, which is going along with the same exact speed of the Earth.
Yes.
Can you account for that with an experiment?
Well, let me just
actually
point something out. So with your example where you said if you have a marble hovering over the record and you drop it, it's going to sort of hit a different spot. If you were to put a marble on a spinning record and have it hop, it's not going to have. It's the same reason why if you're on a bus and you jump, you don't hit the back of the bus.
Correct.
Right? Because you're carried by the bus's momentum.
Well, in that bus, you're inside that bus, you're in a closed system.
It already has a trajectory moving with the Earth. It's already in motion, technically. So
in that bus, you're inside of a closed system. If you go on top of the bus, outside of the bus, and you jump, what's going to happen? You're going to fly back, and you're going to.
Well, that's because of wind resistance. That's because
right.
No,
exactly.
jumping
So the
off
wind
the
is
bus.
pushing you back the other ways. But in your model, you're saying that you're going with the Earth.
So let me ask you one time: if I have a car and I'm driving 120 miles an hour down the road, and I have a bee in my car, do you think that bee is actually flapping its wings, keeping up at 120 miles an hour?
No, because it's in a closed system.
It's but think about this, right? It's moving at the same speed as the car, right?
Right.
Okay, unless it flies out the window and you have air. Now you have air hitting it, and that's going to, again, momentum, stuff like that. So that's going to cause it to change its vector. But if it's in a car, the air in there is moving the same speed as the vehicle, just like the air is moving the same speed as the Earth.
So you're saying that the Earth is inside of a dome. It's inside of a
I
closed
don't know how
system.
you became.
Hold on. Let me field
It's
this.
a closed system in the sense it has an atmosphere.
Right.
So
let
you
me
have
field this one.
systems within
Okay,
systems.
go ahead.
Right.
Let me-
you have
let me-
the atmosphere.
Yeah, go ahead.
The
Let Sean take this one, and hopefully Arn's on his fourth drink by now.
Let me field this one because I've actually dealt with this argument before. There is no drag in a vacuum. There is drag on the surface of the Earth.
Correct.
The Earth is going to win in the friction fight.
Yep. Coefficient of friction. Yep.
Okay, again.
I mean, do you think it's possible that maybe because everybody in here that I pretty much I know everybody in here very well, and I can tell you everybody in here. Well, maybe not Kyle, but no, I'm kidding. But everybody in here has an understanding.
Careful, Steve.
I love you, Kyle. But I can tell you right now, there are people in here that know physics exceptionally well. They put us the rest of the shit.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's-
Count me out.
I mean, there are guys in here you have no idea their qualifications, and I'm not going to dox them too much, but it's safe to say that they are the shit when it comes to science. Okay, so could it be that maybe you just don't have the technical skill set to understand what they're understanding, and that maybe you should go out of your way to try to maybe learn it a little bit better?
That's why I'm here. I'm asking questions.
Okay, but you kind of telling them the way it is rather than them telling
I'm asking
you
you
the
a
way
question. You're saying that the Earth's atmosphere is the Earth is spinning and it's causing the atmosphere to spin, and then the Earth's atmosphere is causing everything in the atmosphere to spin at the exact same speed as the Earth is spinning. I think that's impossible. You need to prove that.
Steve,
inertia
that can
is
easily
the
be
Wait, what is it about the
second.
is the atmosphere a giant steel plate that's making everything in the air
Oh,
go
wait
the
a
same
second.
speed?
Wait a
He
second.
wanted-
Not always. Wait a
He
second.
wanted
George.
an experiment. There's an easy experiment he can perform.
Well, just a second, George. It's not always at the same speed. We have weather, Coriolis effects, hurricanes. I live in Florida. They turn one direction when they go into Florida, and if they go towards South America, they go the other direction. That's Coriolis.
That is Coriolis, correct.
I couldn't agree more.
Okay, so now let's say you're up high in the atmosphere where the air particles are much thinner, right? The air density is thinner up with the higher up you go. How is it that the air molecules are also going at the exact same speed as the Earth?
They're not. They're less.
I think Aaron's trying to talk, but his mic is super quiet right now.
Yeah, I thought so too. I thought I heard him. I wasn't sure. Aaron, do you want to do a mic check?
Well, let me see if I can just adjust that.
Oh, there you are.
There you go.
There's that
We thought
beautiful
you might have lost your voice after that. Whatever the fuck that was.
No.
Hey, Aaron.
If I can pause for a second, this is the first time I've had
Here's
the
the funny thing. This is a strange coincidence. As I was talking, I took the sandals off my feet, and I felt like a ball under my feet.
Did you?
As I was on your podcast, and I eventually pulled it back and picked it up and realized it's the Earth.
It's the Earth.
It's a sign from God, Aaron.
I don't know how.
Coincidentally,
It's a sign from God, but
It's
yeah,
a sign.
I have a sphere of the Earth. Now, if you look at this tiny sphere, you have to remember that the atmosphere on the sphere would be thinner than if I were to spray paint this little ball. That's about how thick the atmosphere would be. So
That's a relative scale, yeah.
yeah. So when the Earth moves, the atmosphere moves with it, obviously, and it shares the same momentum as the moving of the Earth. I mean, the only variance is going to be that in hot places things expand, and in cold places they contract, and so there's going to be some movement of currents, and that the only variance in the movement of currents is going to be to where the land masses are versus where the water is, but there's not going to be any effect at all from the fact that this little globe is spinning. That's not going to affect any fucking thing. And then the beautiful thing is the distance between this little ball and a similarly sized globe of Mars, say, which would be about the size of a marble from here, would be the next town over from where I am. That's how pathetically small that is. But if you think just think about the layer of atmosphere, so very thin here, and it's obviously going to be following the turn of the Earth, and so it has no choice. But the we that are on it are going to be attracted to the middle of this sphere, and we're not going to know the spinning except that we see the stars passing by, which we do see. We actually do see the stars passing by, and we've done time-lapse photography, and you can look this up. There's lots of time-lapse photography of the entire cosmos passing us by in any given night.
Aron?
Yeah.
May I add that you can see the northern hemisphere stars rotating counterclockwise when you look to the north, and when you look to the south in the southern hemisphere, you'll see them rotating, the southern stars rotating clockwise. So it's just the same motion of the Earth, just when you look at it in different directions.
Correct.
That is correct, but that strongly
counterclockwise
implies a globe.
It's correct because you have turned 180 degrees the other direction.
But if the Earth is turning one direction,
the Earth has not changed direction. You have turned 180.
But if regardless which side of the equator I'm on, the Earth is still turning the same way.
Yeah,
correct. The stars do move.
The sun is still going to rise on my east, no matter which hemisphere I'm in.
Exactly. Correct. It's the same motion. You're just seeing it as a different sort of. You're just seeing the same rotation of the Earth from a different view.
From a different vantage point.
If you use the equator as the basis, then I guess I could see your argument from that point.
If you're facing the north celestial pole versus the southern.
Yeah, there's a really cool picture at the equator where it kind of gets the circumpolar.
Both celestial poles, yeah.
Both celestial poles, and the stars going this way. It's magnificent, by the way. By the way, John Michael sent $10 super chat. Thank you. He says thanks for the great content, and please thank Aron for taking time out to deal with Jism.
Can we set a little task for Wotan?
So do you guys? So
Jism on occasion actually produces something.
Yeah.
I didn't comment this evening,
played.
but my first bottle, the one that I opened the cork on, was La Fin du Monde, which, of course, is the end of the world.
Nice one.
That's actually made up near, I think. Is that not made in Montreal?
Oh, boy. Now I have to look it up. It is by Unibrow. Yes, you're right.
Yeah, it's made not far. I'm in Nova Scotia.
Isn't that the greatest?
It's great. Tonight I'm having a wine night, though, so cheers.
Fucking Unibrow. What a great name for a beer brew.
Well, if I can interject something real quick.
They have a few different types that are made of that brewery, and they're all really good, and they're all really strong.
Also this evening, I have enjoyed Baltica No. 6 Porter in honor of our imminent invasion by Russia. And
you read Trump's tweet? I did too.
If I can interject real quick, I finally get a chance to meet you, Aron. It's a pleasure, and I really wish you were still like halfway through your first bottle, but you were dealing with Jism, so I understand.
You guys have actually saved me from an ordeal. My wife is currently painting the bathroom, which I couldn't be a part of because I had to do this podcast.
You're welcome.
And there's my excuse why I can't be helping her right now.
Very good excuse. I'm glad we could be your excuse not to do something around the house.
Aron?
Yeah.
Once again, Aron Ra wins. Flawless.
And I got to reiterate again, because I really do want people to understand this. We really do want to have honest discussions. Matter of fact, we have a new Covenant group in the live chat, and the place is a wonderful channel by Dr. Jones and Bob Greaves and a few other people that they have really good dialectics. Love their channel. I understand, though, that we have a little more biased positions. Opinions are sacred. I'm all for having good conversations, but first of all, I cannot change my actual beliefs, right? And I cannot change the fact that I know the Earth is true. So if you want to call it a bias, so be it, right? I'm not.
Is it a bias? Because
I don't call it bias, but
if what's his face? If Jism could have produced evidence, an actual, verifiable fact that I could not explain it, or my model could not account for it, and he could produce a model that did it provided the explanations and predictions better than the hemispherical model could, I would be forced to consider his alternative.
I agree, but it depends how you use the word. I mean, for example, like if we have a predilection, thank you. It's already getting me. Predilection that you want to consider the bias. I'm okay with that. I don't think that's a terrible thing to say. We do all have the knowledge that the Earth is round, so we're going into the conversation knowing that already. However, like you said, if somebody wants to give us evidence to the contrary, I'm going to evaluate it. Now, yes, I'm probably going to be evaluating it from the position of let me show you why you're wrong, clearly. But we still evaluate evidence fairly, and that you can have a conversation with. I cannot have a conversation with somebody who all they do is run rhetoric and does fallacies. That's not a conversation.
His evidence that the Earth is flat is that I don't have the evidence that I've already demonstrated that I have. So what kind of argument is that?
Yeah, I mean, you got a point there.
And it's not even evidence that's difficult to attain. Anybody, anywhere can verify this. Just get in the fucking car and go. You don't even have to be on the shoreline. It's not like you have to be standing on the shores of Lake Pontchartrain to watch the series of power lines disappear in a curvature along the Earth. I didn't even bring that up. You don't need to go that far.
Stanley has some wonderful videos on that.
Steve, do you mind if I bring up my footage from my drones?
Oh, I love that footage. By all means.
One of their favorite claims is, of course, the horizon always rises to eye level. And so I actually did this for Orphan Red because she's the one that left the most recent comment about it. And I'm getting to it. Give me a moment. So I put my drone up and was doing a multiple sunset like I like to do with my drone. And on the overlay, I actually put an arrow at the horizon level. And come on, my channel.
Do you need to be presented because you're not showing anything yet?
I'm still pulling the video.
Okay.
Come on.
Hey, Aaron.
Yeah.
I'm going to send you a request on Facebook because I'd love to chat with you sometime.
All right. Just let me know what kind of request so I can get it. Cause
I sent you a friend request and a message.
Oh, give me the name.
David McGinnis.
McGinnis.
Yeah. Aaron, you completely wrecked Jism.
Okay, I think so, but I really don't think he cares.
No, you frickin' wrecked him. Okay, I gotta tell a joke here. The Spanish word of the day is rectum. I met Jism, and I wrecked him.
Oh my god, that's terrible.
Wrecked him, Daniel killed him.
All right, Steve, I'm set.
All right.
There you go.
Name, because I'm looking through my recent friends requests and I'm not seeing it.
Okay, now here's the thing.
I can send you his page in a second here.
Okay.
On the Mavic Pro, the gimbal on the camera actually auto levels whenever you go into a hover. So what I did was I put this arrow on the screen showing where the horizon was for the entire video. And as I raise altitude, you'll notice that the horizon drops. And this is only going from 190 feet to 1639. And it's a huge drop.
Isn't that sufficient to prove a sphere already?
Works for me.
Oh, yeah.
So just going up.
If I'm in an airplane and I see the sun set so that the clouds are no longer lit, but my airplane still is, isn't that enough?
Well, and here's the thing. Look, this can be explained using a round Earth. Easily.
I didn't even see the transition right there.
But hang on. But my point is, this can be explained on a round Earth. I have never seen a flat Earth model where this will work on. I can never see a model that says, you know what, this flat Earth model will produce the same things that we're seeing here. There isn't any. It just doesn't exist because on a flat Earth model, the sun cannot go below the horizon.
And that's why the guy wouldn't give me a model because there's no way he can explain a solar eclipse. I've been standing under a fucking solar eclipse. How can he explain that? He said. What did he say? What, did you notice that the temperature dropped? Yes, of course the temperature dropped. I suddenly have a 2,000-mile wide sphere between me and the fucking sun. Of course the temperature dropped.
Well, I love the eclipse.
For the benefit of wonton.
You'd be surprised how good an insulation 2,000 miles of rock can be.
For the benefit of wonton, since he's now watching the screen, right now I'm at 106 feet. This arrow stays in the same place on the video overlay the entire time. When I go up to 1,600 feet, the horizon has dropped.
Say that again.
He's increasing altitude, and so the horizon has dropped.
Yeah.
And this is only 1,400 feet that I've risen. And of course, this is a two-time job.
So you're saying that that's the curvature of the Earth, right?
Your drone rises 1,300 feet.
He's got a badass motherfucking drone.
Oh, wait till you see the one I'm getting on Friday.
Yeah, he doesn't have like your thing. You go to like Radio Shack and buy your drone shit. He's got fucking drone.
Yeah,
he's got like military grade shit.
Does his drone take out Afghanis?
He could probably. I'm surprised he hasn't outfitted with sidewinders or something.
Steve,
now, can you show that in full time?
Chat real quick.
Okay.
It's a 9-minute video. If you want to watch it, you can feel free to go to my channel.
I've got to go in like 2 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, because obviously a drone is not perfectly level, right? It's going to alter. It's going to move up and down. So that little arrow.
Hold on, Wonton. I actually explained that in the video. In a hover, the camera automatically levels back to level. The only time the camera deviates is when you're actually moving. When you're gaining or lowering altitude, while you're actually gaining or lowering altitude, the camera will angle down. While you're turning left or right, the camera will turn slightly left or right. As you're strafing left and right, the camera will actually angle left or right. When you're moving forward, the camera will angle up. When you're moving backwards, the camera will angle down. But when you're in a hover, it will always return to level within 2 seconds.
Right, it's going to return to level, but it's still going to be moving. It's not going to be absolutely perfectly still like a piece of 2x4. Like, it's not going to just stand there, right? It has motors on the top of it.
Hold on. You have never flown a Mavic Pro, have you?
No.
These are the most stable drones for maintaining position.
And I want to show you
compared to what? Most stable could just mean that it moves a little bit, but it doesn't move that much.
I want to show you Kyle's artwork.
Yeah, Aaron, I want to say, thank you, Aaron, for holding that globe because that gave me the perfect thumbnail.
Round confirmed. He's just looking at it like, "Hey, dumb fuck, it's round." Hey, dumb fuck, it's round.
Isn't it a strange coincidence that I happen across this ball? I don't know how long it's been under my desk, but I didn't notice it until this evening.
Well,
that's bizarre.
As soon as you picked it up and I saw you holding it, I was like, "Oh my god!"
That look on Aaron's face is priceless, though. It's fucking priceless.
It's perfect.
If I can address one more thing about the drone doesn't stay in one position. I can't show the video because it actually doxes a few people if I did. But in a parking lot while I was down in Florida, I put the Mavic up at about 4.5 feet and put it into a hover. And I would physically go over and grab one of the landing legs and pull the drone away, and it would fight me tooth and nail. And once I let go, it went exactly back to where I set it to hover. The GPS system in the Mavic Pro is incredibly accurate.
Right, that's 4 feet off the ground, and when you go 1,300 feet up, obviously there's going to be a lot more wind up there, right?
And like I said, as long as the wind is not more than 20 miles per hour, it will maintain its position to within centimeters.
That's amazing.
Well, 1 centimeter when you're looking at the horizon, which is 1,000 feet away, 1,000 miles away.
Again, Wonton, the camera only adjusts while you're moving the sticks. If you do not move the sticks, the camera doesn't change.
Okay, so that you're saying that is the curvature of the Earth, right?
Yes.
Okay, so how does Neil deGrasse Tyson say that you cannot see the curvature of the Earth unless it's 70,000 feet up in the air?
The curvature he's talking about is left to right across the horizon. He's not talking about.
Now you're special pleading that he said that.
No, what you tried to do.
Confirmation bias.
Are we just going to throw out fallacies?
You don't know that he didn't say that. Actually, he said that the only way you could see curvature is at 70,000 feet.
And what did he qualify that? The horizon will always look flat. Love the cherry picking.
Hey, Sean.
This is his words, what he's saying. He said you cannot see the curve of the Earth until you're 70,000 feet in the air.
You're quote mining.
I gotta say, if I may.
I'm quote mining it. That's his actual quote. It's not a quote mine. That's his actual quote to what he said.
That it will always look flat. He's talking about left to right.
Well, you're just saying that he's saying that it went left to right. He never said left to right. He never said those words. You're just literally putting words in his mouth.
No, I understand. I mean, I've been at the top of a very tall mountain a couple of times. You know, I've had a life. I've done some stuff. And I remember being at the top of this one mountain and feeling like I can see the curvature of the Earth. I mean, it was really, really high. But I realized in retrospect that that's just kind of a perspective illusion. because I know that I've been higher than that in an airplane, and I wasn't able to see the curvature of the Earth in the airplane. So it's just I don't know what it is. Maybe it's the thinness of the atmosphere or whatever gave me the impression that I was able to see this. But I know that I've been much higher than that in an airplane, and I didn't see the curvature of the Earth. And I know that I would need to be at least twice that high, if not 3 times that high, in order to actually see the curvature of the Earth and have it not be like a parabolic illusion.
Okay, right. So then, how is it possible that he's seeing the curvature of the Earth at just 1,300 feet?
Well,
it could be 1,300 feet.
Wadden, the thing is, when you have the curvature of the Earth can either refer to front to back curvature, like you're looking down it, and it can also refer to left to right. It's much easier to see front to back curvature, as in when you're looking straight at it, like when you're looking down the barrel of a gun, as opposed to left to right curvature. The horizon will still drop, indicating the curvature of the Earth, but the actual horizontal curvature, the left to right curvature, may still not be apparent.
I'll tell you what, one time, just for you, I will make another drone video. I'll put the drone up to 200 feet, have it do a slow circle, just spin in one spot. Then I'll take it up to 1,600 feet and have it spin again, and I'll do the same thing with a line and leave the line on for the entire video. And I can guarantee to you that the horizon will drop in every direction with altitude on the same flight. One single take.
Hey, Sean,
why are we arguing this? This is
exactly why are we arguing? If it's so true, if the globe Earth is so true, then you should be able to just refute everything I say in just 2 seconds.
Well, hang on.
The flat Earth wouldn't even be a thing.
Wonton, I'm not going to let you away with that. First of all, nothing's in 2 seconds. People ask questions, and then people respond. And some of them can take some very technical answers. But there's not a single flat Earth argument out there that I guarantee cannot be answered. They're all bullshit. Every fucking one of them is bullshit.
The guy told me tonight that every flight from South America to Africa had to go through London. How long did it take me to disprove that? On fucking Travelocity.
Aaron, it gets even better. Jism actually had a guy named Max Egan on his show that he held a live stream for, where he flew from Santiago to Johannesburg. It didn't stop anywhere. It didn't go to London. It didn't go to any place else. It was strictly over water the entire time. And Jism's now ignoring that.
Steve McRae pointed out that he got a call from this guy who was on the South Pole. 1 foot on one side, 1 foot on the other. And his argument was, well, you didn't cross it, did he? Yeah, he did. By 1 foot.
Yeah,
he landed seems like a pretty trustworthy guy.
But there's no criteria that anyone will ever meet, because if I were to take Jism himself and go in a private plane and we go south of Santiago, we go to that settlement that's on the shore of Antarctica, we can circumnavigate. And this is what I did with the last guy that I was talking to, and he blew a fucking circuit when I pointed this out. That we can land on that thing on Antarctica and know that we're on Antarctica, because we definitely went south from Santiago and the only thing there is Antarctica. And that if we fly all the way around the continent and come back to the point that we left, we'll know the size of Antarctica, and we'll know that we went around it, and that it is not a ring around the entire planet of 26,000 miles across. And that would disprove what he was saying. And the thing was, this guy was so stupid, he actually thought I was threatening to take him to South America, to Antarctica to prove this. He thought that I had the money to do this. And he blew a fucking gasket when I was going to disprove his myth. That's what it is. It's a fucking fantasy, and they don't want there to be any kind of falsifiability to it.
Well, yeah, I don't really subscribe to the whole ice ring planet. I just feel that the Earth is demonstrably flat and motionless, and that's it. Whatever Antarctica is.
Does it go on
whatever.
forever? Is there an edge? Like, if there's no race?
I don't believe that it's infinite, because I believe infinity is just a concept. There's no example of anything that is infinite, so I just believe that the Earth will.
So what the fuck is gravity?
Gravity is an illusory myth that has never been proven.
Gravity? So if you drop your glass right now, it won't fall.
No. That's not. Obviously, it falls, but the reason why it falls, you think that the Earth is pulling it down. In order for you to prove that the Earth is pulling it down, you need to do that with an experiment.
So what's your alternative to that?
So how many experiments, what kind of experiment would indicate that gravity exists, and what kind of experiment would falsify that gravity exists?
Take a 1 trillion pound lead ton ball, whatever, and
Okay,
make,
so you want to make sure
then
that there's
take
something beyond what anyone can do.
no, okay. So yeah, fine. So 1,000 pound, 1,000 ton lead ball, or whatever you want, doesn't matter. Something realistic, and then take a 1 gram lead ball or 1 microgram lead ball, put them next to each other, and if they go towards it, I'll believe you.
Cavendish experiment.
Okay, so let me document what he just said here. A one what?
However, okay, so to make it realistic, to make it realistic,
to see if the 1 gram lead ball is attracted to the larger ball.
because obviously a 1,000 ton lead ball is a little unrealistic. So
And
anything
so
realistic,
you have
so it's
to go
a
into
200
outer
ton.
space then to be outside of the Earth's gravitational influence.
That's the whole thing. So your experiment is impossible to
So
prove.
you have to have something that's unfalsifiable to defend your myth.
Right, but your experiment is impossible to prove because none
So
of us are
we
going to
can't
outer
talk
space.
about the moon right now. Why the moon doesn't.
Hold on, guys. The Cavendish experiment. It's already been done.
Right, 300 years ago in a barn by a Freemason scientist.
And it is constantly being repeated.
Do we have
With
another
the-
fucking madman that is pretending that gravity doesn't exist?
Yeah, it's one of those.
Yes, that's exactly
By the
what
way,
we have.
listen and be careful. We have 3 people in queue that want to come in. So if you're not going to speak or have nothing to add, or if you want to come back later,
Do I need to go? Because I really can't.
No, I got somebody coming in for you. Of somebody.
I mean, if you just have no experiments proving what you believe. If you have no experiments proving what you believe, then I don't believe you.
You can produce a model that explains the situation better, that shows why the moon doesn't fall down. You have to make up some bullshit excuse that the moon is supernatural or maybe made of light or some such.
No, show me an experiment. This is a fundamental.
Wonton, you don't want to go here with him. I promise you, you don't want to go here with him.
I know where.
Hold on. Let's address this.
My name is
before it gets too far.
Aaron.
Let's address this before it gets too far. He just said, "Can you produce an experiment?" And we did, and he denied the experiment. This is the length he will go.
300. So you believe something 300 years ago.
Again,
This is a religious belief.
One
It's a
time.
religious belief.
Okay.
Religion.
Does it have anything to do with the supernatural?
Hold on, I want to ask him a question. Can you see my green line?
Yeah, can we get somebody to drop real quick? I need to get somebody in here. Quentin, can you come back later?
Steve?
Yes, George.
The Cavendish experiment is repeated every year in physics classes in college.
Okay, do you have any idea how absolutely sensitive that test is?
Do you?
Yeah, it's one of the most sensitive tests on Earth. When Cavendish
We went through this last night one time.
Exactly,
remember?
but maybe other people don't know what my contention.
To
with
the
Cavendish
flat
is.
Earth guy, do you have a model?
I don't need a model. The flat Earth is a null
you
hypothesis.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, no, you
The
do.
flat Earth is a null
You think you don't
hypothesis.
need a
No,
model?
it's not.
Hold on. I want to ask him a question.
Flat Earth is a null
If you
hypothesis.
think you don't need a model, you're done.
The flat Earth is a null hypothesis.
You don't know what a null
No,
hypothesis.
the flat Earth is the bullshit made up because you want to deny reality hypothesis.
Yeah.
May I
It's not
ask
even
a
a
question
hypothesis.
to one?
In
No,
order
hang on,
to be a
Tornado.
hypothesis, it has to be some sort of a test where you can verify or falsify it. If you can't do either one, it's not even a hypothesis. It's literally just bullshit.
Can somebody explain? As a matter of fact, Hogtie, you had some experience in this area.
Is
Can you
Hogtie
please?
in here?
Yeah, fuck. You know what? He finds his way in.
Just
I don't
come
know.
in, Art.
It's weird. Yeah, it's weird. Hogtie, can you real quick? I know you want to say something to Aron, and then can you possibly explain to Wonton what the fuck a null hypothesis is? Because I don't think he's understanding what null hypothesis is.
Oh, you know what? There may be a bit of a struggle here. I was just sending you a message separately. I about this level, what you see when you see things that are level. But my computer's doing that weird thing again since the last Chrome update, where it just drops out. Like just now, you said, "Can you?"
Oh, he's doing it. He's
dropping out.
All right, all right. I'll try again later.
Just hit F5. Try that real quick. Just reset F5.
Okay.
I want to just ask Sean something really quick. When you see footage that's been taken on like a high altitude balloon, and a lot of flat earthers don't accept it because it's spinning and it's all moving around too much, apparently. Is there any footage that you're aware of that's been filmed on
we're trying to get Hogtie back. He was just resetting, so
I was gonna ask Sean,
you want Hogtie back? I can drop out.
Yeah, then I'll get you in right after he leaves. He's not gonna be a very long podcast.
I think I'm going to drop out too, unless I've got somebody that can produce a model.
Well, part time says he can.
Well, I'd just like to ask Aron Ra if he has an experiment proving what he
All right.
believes.
Okay, Watson, you're done. I'm sorry. You're
You have no experiments.
Okay, bye bye. All right, so
My name is Aron.
yeah, if you can't get your name right, fuck up. I'm done with it.
And yeah, I've got experiments. I've demonstrated them in the previous conversation. And we can book flights, we can take flights, we can do road trips. I've given those examples. We can go to the Arctic Circle, we can go to the Antarctic. I've given those examples. What the fuck else do I need?
Aron, do you know, have you ever heard of Debbie?
Have I ever heard
Debbie Turner?
You mean, wait, you mean my old friend Debbie, or do you mean the one that did Dallas?
Yeah.
Well,
could be one of the same.
We can't speak to that, but.
I got 2 flat earthers here for you that hopefully can produce a model, Michael and Flirt Time. However, Hogtie was trying to get back in. He just reset, so can somebody drop for him, Tornado or somebody, or anybody?
I was going to ask Part-Time a question, or either one. So you guys don't think gravity is true, right?
Things fall to the ground, but why they fall, I don't think that's been proven.
Okay, so what would you...
So you don't even have
Notice, I didn't say things don't fall. I said why they fall. I don't know if that's been proven.
Okay, so...
There's several models that try to explain it. There's the Newtonian physics model. There's the Einstein model. They're both trying to explain the same phenomenon, but I don't...
How much alcohol do you have, Aron?
Yeah,
I
don't have
plenty more if I need to resource it.
Now,
I think you're going to.
Part-Time Vegan, what would you propose as an alternative explanation, like density, buoyancy, mass, any of those? Would you propose any of those as a potential reason as to why things fall?
I would say density and buoyancy obviously play a role, but there has to be a compensation for the direction.
Okay, so if I were to cite a source, say the Vomit Comet does parabolic arcs where it would pull up and do this high thing, and then when it noses down, it enters into a dive, and then you start seeing humans, which are obviously denser than air, floating. Now, what could possibly explain that? We know that humans are denser than air, and supposedly dense things are supposed to fall no matter what. So why would the humans, which are obviously in the plane and obviously denser than air, why are the humans not falling when the plane enters a dive?
I'm not really conceptualizing your example. Maybe if you have like a picture or something, I'm not really getting what you're saying.
Okay, I'm going to start working on a picture in GIMP, so anyone who wants to talk to Part-Time can do that.
Okay, and Wonton is going to go do lookups. He's going to go study what a null hypothesis is and get back to us. But until then, it's just the same diatribe over and over again. 660 give us 666 for. I bet 666 that after today, Aron Ra will be glad to start dealing with the comparatively sane creationist. That's sad when creationism is saner than something else. That's just a lot, actually.
And they're still going to need a bigger boat.
Yeah.
Well, if we get back to
the beauty of this is when we were talking to the guy that had the rocket that wanted to go up and prove the flat Earth thing, he was already backpedaling the flat Earth. He said, this is a very small part of what I do. And I said, yeah, it needs to be no part of what you do because that's utter bullshit.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter how high you fucking go, you will never prove a flat Earth because it's not fucking flat.
And you're going to be governor.
There's so many ways we can prove that already.
I was genuinely concerned for Mad Mike, too, because he's
a nice guy.
As shit.
No, he's a nice guy.
As shit.
And by the way,
I actually like him, and I applauded him. I congratulated him to his face that he was proving Goddard's experiment, that he's doing science the way science should be done, where you never take anybody's word for fucking anything, and you go out and prove it. He said he didn't trust science. I said, I applaud you for proving science. That's what it is.
And I got to tell you, after he did that, the day or two afterwards, I said the exact same thing to him on a post, and he was appreciative of it. Somebody else said something derogatory, and his aunt got on and chewed the guy out. She's like, "What the fuck have you ever done?" She's like, "At least he's out there doing something. He put his life on the line for an experiment."
Yeah,
I mean, and I'm like, fucking ballsy, dude. I was like,
and you got to give him a respect for that.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And I told him that I've been higher than 1,800 feet off of a fucking elevator, that didn't require balls. It just required a bucket of money to walk
Yes.
to walk up an elevator that high up in the air. But I wasn't risking my life for that shit. But this guy needs to understand why he'll never be able to prove that the Earth is flat, because it's fucking not.
I mean, if you were trying to prove the Earth was flat, wouldn't it make more sense to just fly horizontally until you hit the edge or the firmament or whatever the hell is there, rather than go straight up anyway?
All of the arguments for the flat Earth are ridiculously stupid. I mean,
I know they are, but I mean, if you were
Imagine, for example,
operating on the assumption that it was flat, why would you go up and not just to the edge?
One of the arguments is, and this is seriously this fucking stupid, that you should be able to go up in a helicopter and go up 10,000 feet and hover, and the Earth will pass under you.
That's fucking
how
retarded.
fucking stupid that is. There's no accounting for the fact that the atmosphere is going to move with the Earth.
Okay, so hold on. Let's go with that. So the atmosphere is moving.
I got a super chat. I got to say real quick. Stephen Bartwell wants to Aaron. He said, "Sorry he missed you in Wisconsin," and he gave me $10 for hard booze money. I'm going to buy another one of these because I've got about that much left from that with that, Stephen. So this, if you guys don't know, this is corn whiskey.
Straight corn whiskey. You're drinking straight. I'm sitting here with fucking beer, and you've got corn whiskey.
You are the only person that knows what the hell corn whiskey is, because when I went to go get this shit, they looked at me like, "What the fuck is that?" I had to go to the store manager. He's like, "Oh yeah, I got corn whiskey over here."
Okay, I have.
I grew up in
enough trailer.
Well, can we go with the atmosphere thing real quick?
No. We're talking about corn whiskey. Shut up for a second. Go ahead, Aron. What?
I said I grew up in enough trailer parks that I know what corn whiskey is.
Not bad.
You know what sour mash is, right, Aron?
No, I don't actually know the definition of sour mash.
Sour mash is what corn whiskey is before it's corn whiskey.
Yeah.
It's still fermenting.
I got to tell you, man, this will put hair on your face.
Okay. All right, so I have a bottle of Captain Morgan 100, but I'm not going to break it out for this.
I don't blame you.
I'm just not, because I'm going to have to go help my wife paint the places that she's not tall enough to reach. And I have to be tall enough to reach them, and I won't be able to paint them if I'm lying on the floor.
Yeah, but I have one standing rule with my super chats and donations. If somebody says this is strictly to buy alcohol, I do.
I've got
really good, actually.
It says Diablo and it has a devil's head on it, so I thought it was appropriate for something like this.
I thought the end of the world was an appropriate thing to drink tonight.
There you go.
All right, so it looks like I can't get Hogtie back in. Hannah said, Aron, thanks. Enjoy your night. And we'd like to thank you as well. I mean, obviously these discussions are hit or miss. I think this was a wonderful discussion that we had as far as...
I had fun with it.
It was fun, but there was nothing productive of it.
I thought it was fun, but it's disturbing to me that these people have to be so overtly dishonest that they have to resort to accusing me of having a religion, for example. That once you've done that, you've lost.
Yeah, it's sophistry and it's just rhetoric, and that's again, I'm tired of those kinds of discussions.
It's Godwin's.
Yes, Godwin's.
It's the same thing. If you're going to accuse me of being a Nazi, or if you're going to accuse me, if I'm anti-religious, you're going to accuse me of having a religion because I have a belief that's based on evidence. If you're going to resort to that kind of fraud, then you've lost.
Yeah, because at least sophistry and rhetoric can be good in the right hands, and that's a talent to use those things.
I mean, to be fair, Aron, it's disturbing to me that these people fill in the blank at that point, right? That these people exist, that these people have the Second Amendment, that just the fact that the kind of thinking that's required to be
the nice thing about the Second Amendment is
in this day and age.
The nice thing about the Second Amendment is they are more likely to give a blowjob to their own handguns than they are to point them at me.
That's true.
And by the way, we only need 10 more dislikes to get 100 dislikes. So let's come on. Let's do it. Come on, we can do it. Seriously, we're at 90.
I am going to have to be a productive husband and help my wife in cleaning the bathroom. So I'm going to have to let you guys go.
Okay.
It's been a bucket of chuckles. I don't know.
Well,
and I'm going to have to leave it at that. Thank you, guys.
Aron, before you go, it may have been a bucket of chuckles for you, but Jaren is now a bucket of pieces. Jeranism, I now pronounce Jeranism to be KFJ, Kentucky Fried Jism.
By the way, Shaggy Sater, can we get him to come in real quick because he just really wants to say hi to Aron, and he's one of my admins, and
Okay.
and he's really been supportive. If he just comes in, he just wants to say hi. So whoever drops out, I'll bring you right back if you can just get him in for a second.
Also, Aron,
okay, come on in now.
Before I pop out, Aron, don't forget to get me those titles for November.
Come on in, Shaggy. You got the link.
What did we talk about? Something for November?
Yeah, what's November?
Yeah, what the topic of that debate will be.
Oh, yeah, you're right. The 3 different topics.
Yeah.
Yes.
No rush.
I said earlier that it would be tonight, but then I realized I was going to have to be doing chores tonight, so it'll probably be tomorrow.
Yeah, no problem.
Hi.
Sater.
Hey.
Hey, buddy. So, meet Aron.
Hi, Aron.
Hey.
I'm a huge fan of your work. You're actually the reason I'm no longer either a young earther or a flat earther.
Outstanding. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that.
Wow, that's a combo right there.
I came to your videos with the intent to listen to atheist arguments so that I could better argue against them, and you ended up deconverting me.
And isn't that the best compliment somebody can get that does this kind of stuff? I mean,
it is.
What possible better compliment can you get other than that?
It's so good that I used to call myself, just as a joke, I used to call myself Aron the Vain. But honestly, when I get compliments like that, it's actually humbling.
It is.
Well,
it's amazing.
I respect your work, man.
To add to that, Aron, it was your conversation with Godless Engineer on Darwin Day 2015 kind of did something similar with me. And I was the guy who was running the hangout with you and G-Man with his cat, so.
Yeah. And Aron, I got to tell you, you didn't convert me for anything because I've already played this way, so. But I loved your videos, still watch them.
Okay. Well, I'm going to have to let you guys go. Thank you.
Thank you
very much for everything everybody has said.
Yes.
But I do need to be a useful and constructive part of my family and go paint the bathroom.
See ya, Aron.
Nice to meet you, Aron.
Nice to meet you, man.
Take care of my friend.
Thank you so much.
Anyway, Steve,
Yes,
I now
sir.
have the graphic that I have designed for Part-Time Vegan. Part-Time Vegan, would you please unmute yourself? Thank you. I'm going to be sharing my application window. That way I have the concept of the vomit comet. The vomit comet is represented by the little plane right here. This little shoddy plane drawing that you see right here. I came up with it in 5 minutes on GIMP, so forgive me for that. As the plane pitches up and gains altitude and such and all that good jazz, it enters this gaining altitude phase where it basically gains altitude for its dive. It will rise so that it gets to a certain point. That way the pilot can pull out of the dive just before he gets into a danger zone. So when the pilot of the plane peaks the plane, it then begins to enter the dive procedure. Everything in the plane that's being carried on for the experiment will then enter a sort of weightless environment as the plane begins a semi-free fall. This is the area where I start to have an issue with density and buoyancy being the explanation as for why things fall all the time.
Well, buoyancy requires gravity. That's the problem. And if you look at the formulas, it has G in there. That's gravity.
And the thing is here, when they say humans are more dense than air, they actually mean that humans are less buoyant in air than in water, which is why sometimes humans float in various types of water.
And flat earthers are more dense than normal humans, right?
And either way, but the fact of the matter is, the humans, despite being less buoyant than the air and more dense than the air, supposedly, are still floating when the Vomit Comet plane is doing its free fall. The reason why they call it the Vomit Comet is because of motion sickness. That's how it got its name, the Vomit Comet. But when the Vomit Comet is diving, as I've said, the humans will float inside there, or whatever's being brought along will float inside of the plane because, well, it's in a temporary free fall, and the people inside are beginning to feel microgravity, if you will. It's not truly zero G, it's microgravity, but still, they'll enter it for about 30 seconds, at which point the pilots will which point the people inside the cargo bay, if you will be able to float around, do all sorts of flips and such. So, yeah, and this is while they are still less buoyant than the air they're surrounded by. So why else would they be falling if we've eliminated the the supposed explanation for merely being just buoyancy and just density?
A couple of different super chats real quick before we go on. Redbeard Cthulhu. What an awesome name. I don't know what the hell it means. But Redbeard Cthulhu. Steve, you should check out Cedar Ridge or Templeton Rye. Both great corn whiskey. I've never tried them. Sounds good. Halsoy. Steve Wonton thinks that the flat earth is the null hypothesis because of an article that states, quote, when people believe the earth was flat, it was the null hypothesis. The moron never updates himself. That's one of the things I've noticed when people don't know what the fuck they're reading and they just run with it. And they're like, oh, it's true because I'm reading this. And yet they don't have the prerequisite skills to understand a little bit more about the topic to know that what they're reading, they're not reading correctly or they're not understanding it. But anyways, Part-Time Vegan, do you understand the whole vomit comment thing?
Basically just parabolic flight. Why that would happen? Maybe due to inertia or momentum. I'm not quite sure the exact mechanics of why that is actually, like, why they're floating.
Well, I mean, what do you need help trying to understand?
Well, I mean, I think he's asking me to explain it. I'm saying I'm not sure.
I'm trying to tell you exactly why people and things fall, despite when they're being in the vomit comment, they float when the plane enters the dive. Because at that point they're in zero gravity, if you will, and they're floating despite them being still more dense and less buoyant than air. So we've kind of eliminated the...
If I can touch on that, Tornado, because I don't think you're getting your point across.
Go ahead, Sean.
And by the way, really good artistry there, by the way. Very, very good.
In the dive, the plane
Get MS Paint.
In the dive,
Go ahead, Sean.
Are we done?
Yeah, go ahead.
In the dive, the plane is going downwards at exactly 1 G, 9.8 meters per second.
Right.
The problem is inside the aircraft, the atmosphere inside the aircraft is also going down at 9.8 meters per second, which means if density and buoyancy was a thing that was causing the downward motion, the people inside would also be trying to change their acceleration based on density and buoyancy, which means they would actually go to the front of the plane. They wouldn't fall. They wouldn't be floating. They would actually fall to the front of the plane.
Would they fall to the front or fall to the back?
They would fall to the front, because if density and buoyancy was the cause of everything falling, since the air is moving at 9.8 meters per second,
they're going to go down. Okay.
They're going to go down.
Yeah,
they would not float.
Well, I think definitely density and buoyancy has something to do with it, because wouldn't we agree that maybe people of different weights would obviously that different densities would basically float differently in the parabolic flight?
I'm fat and I float amazing.
Yeah, I don't know where you get this whole buoyancy and density thing from.
I'm not saying density and buoyancy is just the end all be all. I think there's another thing going on with the direction.
It's something that I think flat earthers pull out their ass because they like.
Hold on, Steve. He just opened up another whole can of worms, because now he's saying that denser things fall faster. They don't.
Yeah,
Everything falls at 9.8 meters per second. Per second.
It's independent of density.
The plane, the people, the air in it all fall at 9.8.
I mean, what do you think? What do you think density means? By the way, I mean, let's get that established so we are on the same page. What is?
I know what it means.
Well,
it's just mass divided by a volume.
Okay, so it's mass per unit volume. Okay, so how does that affect how fast something falls?
I don't think it necessarily affects how fast it falls.
You just said it did.
That's your
no, Sean. Sean. No, you said I did. You literally made that.
All right, so density has nothing to do with how fast something falls.
I think it plays a role, but I don't think it's end all be all. What's up?
You did say it.
You did say
I
it.
did not say that.
You did say it. When I brought up the example of the things that should be falling towards the front of the plane, you said, "Well, denser things fall faster."
No, I did not say denser things fall faster.
I think that's what I heard you say too.
No,
we're not
on the tape. I said, would you do that? Somebody? Would you? Okay, well, you guys can hear what you want, but
well, then we have it on recording, so we can play it back.
Yeah, you can play it back, because Sean's saying that I said denser things fall faster. I didn't say that.
You could be wrong.
I said that they might. I would say that a denser person would fall differently than a lighter person.
Well, what the hell's the differ's?
That's not saying they would fall faster. I'm just saying the density plays a role in how they fall. That's what I'm saying. How I'm not exactly sure.
Then you have the speed to switch.
I would have. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and pause. Okay.
I'm going to do that. I'm going to steal that from Reds.
You're literally admitting to not knowing what you're saying.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't have any measurements to tell you. I'm not just going to postulate something off the top of
But
my head.
here's the thing: we do.
Other people do have measurements to tell you, right?
Yeah.
And those
Okay,
measurements
so what measurements do we have of different people of different weights, and what were the measurements at?
Feather and a bowling ball in a vacuum chamber. They both fall at the same rate.
Well, we're not talking about a vacuum chamber. We're talking about parabolic flights. So where are your measurements? Because this is what we're talking about.
When you're okay, you know how an M&M and a person will still. Let's just use the ISS as an example, or it's just being used as an example here, or even better, just having Skittles in the Vomit Comet and a person in the Vomit Comet. Technically, the person weighs more than the Skittle because there's more mass there, and so technically that would work. And still, they still have the same floating characteristics when the plane is entering and when that plane is in that dive for 30 seconds.
But would you say that the Skittle and the person, they float differently? Like, how would I say this? Because floating is kind of a bad terminology for it.
Air that is still in the airplane will resist them differently.
Real quick, Average Joe, my nuke buddy, says, "Why is it all flat earthers are scientific illiterate?" I found that to be the case. I am not exaggerating. If you know of a flat earther that is not scientific illiterate, send them our way because I do not know of any.
I'm not scientific illiterate, but whatever.
Okay, well, I have not found one that's scientific illiterate yet. They're all illiterate to me. But there's one out there that tries to use math in a crazy kind of different way, but he's just as bad as the other ones. And then somebody says, "Can you show LIGO webpage from Caltech MT?" No, not really. But if you want to go check it out, LIGO did detect gravity waves. It's a thing, right? I mean, so unless you can disprove that, you have no argument on that. Gravity is a legit thing.
Well, is that the one that detected gravity waves with the two black holes?
Yes.
So basically, it postulated that gravity exists, and then
no, we don't postulate. No.
That's circular reasoning.
No. We don't postulate gravity exists. We know gravity exists. That's called a conclusion.
Isn't black holes? Doesn't that postulate that? I mean, so hold on.
Hold on.
If gravity doesn't exist, doesn't it mean black holes don't exist?
Whoa!
Do you even listen to what you say sometimes? Gravity doesn't exist.
I have a question. If you think that density is part of what lets things float, do you think birds fly exclusively because they're less dense?
Yeah. No, it doesn't work that way.
Well, I never agreed to that, but okay.
Okay, so
I asked you if you agreed to that.
Yeah, and Steve answered for me. He said, no, it doesn't work that way. So,
you do agree with that?
Ask the question again.
Do you believe that birds fly exclusively because they are less dense than people?
No.
All right, what other forces do you think are acting there?
That's just the mechanics of how. I mean, birds have a mechanical way of flying by how they manipulate air with their wings and stuff.
So aerodynamics.
Yeah,
wind resistance
basically.
and all that.
Yeah. Right.
What is it that they're resisting?
Well, they have to overcome their own weight to get into the air.
And what would be providing the weight?
Yeah, what's providing the weight?
Magic?
God is. Obviously, he's pushing down on them.
I mean, Parker, do you see how hard it is for you to answer simple questions when all of us can pretty much explain basic stuff, and yet here you are saying all of physics is wrong, and yet you don't know enough.
When did I say all of physics is wrong? You guys are...
If the Earth is flat, all of physics is wrong.
Not necessarily.
Oh, bullshit.
That's
bullshit.
Not true.
Name one law of physics that isn't changed that needs to explained with the flat Earth. If the Earth is flat, every law of physics I know is wrong.
How do you know all of the laws?
Are we going to have a presuppositional argumentation now? Because you'll get destroyed. I guarantee you don't want to go there. Let's stick with flat Earth, Michael, because if you want to do precept, you're going to get annihilated. I'm just going to give you fair.
Okay, I wanted to change the subject back to the rotation of the Earth, if you would like.
Well, hold on. Before we go there, I just want Steve to answer one question. So, if gravity doesn't exist, black holes don't exist. Is that correct?
If gravity doesn't exist, we don't exist.
No, if gravity doesn't exist, black holes don't exist. Is that correct?
along with everything else in the universe.
So basically, that's circular reasoning to say
That's
that
not
you
circular reasoning.
That is circular reasoning. You literally
That's the goddamn
postulate.
weirdest thing I've ever heard
Okay,
in my life.
black holes literally presuppose that gravity exists. You're literally saying, "Oh, we found gravity waves."
I presuppose we exist, and we exist. I presuppose existence is an axiomatic assumption, a property of basic belief. That's not circular.
Let me ask you this. You do agree that things fall down, right?
Yes, I totally agree.
Okay. And what I think you're failing to realize is, to some extent, gravity is a made-up term. It's a term that is defining what it is that causes things to fall down, and that we can tie to equations to predict things.
You can call it anything you want.
You can call it whatever you want. It's still there.
What do you want to call it? Anybody know the name gravity?
Well, hold on. You said it's still there. That means you're saying gravity is something. You're saying gravity is pulling something down. Well,
yes, gravity is a thing. It is a force that causes things to fall and has certain characteristics that can be measured. We have labeled that gravity. And you acknowledge that you see the effects of the thing that the scientific community has chosen to label gravity. So it's kind of unfair for you to say gravity doesn't exist.
Yeah, whatever that force is.
Well, because that's the thing. You guys postulate gravity as a bending of space-time. Like, gravity is basically a ghost force.
Can I ask him a question?
You can't touch it. You can't smell it. So where's it at? Where's it at?
Hold on. So you're saying magnets are fictional?
No, because the thing is, you can sprinkle small little magnets and you can see the magnetic field, but you can't do that with gravity.
You can see everything that falls, though.
You can see the hold on, Steve. Hold on, guys.
Okay, hold on.
You can see the effects.
Hold on. Let Sean talk.
You can see the effects of magnetism. You can also see the effects of gravity.
That's it. It's as simple as that. I mean, how much more complicated do you need to make it? If you see the effects of magnetism,
that gravity is the bending of space-time, like.
You are aware we have gravity and knowledge.
Those are two concepts.
Do you understand
Space is the absence of stuff, and then time is not even.
First of all, do you understand that general relativity was a confirmed model because it made predictions, and because of those predictions, we can look and say, okay, this is what the model says we should see. Oh, look, this is what we see. That means it has predictive abilities. Now, I'm a instrumentalist. I'm not a realist, so I don't give a shit whether space-time is actually bent, whatever. It makes no fucking difference to me as an instrumentalist. All I know is I can use those formulas to determine the path of light given specific conditions.
Right.
Because it takes the shortest geodesic path. That's all I give a fuck about. If somebody wants to claim scientific realism and that's really the way it is, okay, that's a philosophical question. It's not a scientific one. Okay? But either way, it works. Do not deny that?
Not really.
Okay, then show me a violation of general relativity that falsifies the general.
It doesn't work on a micro scale or a macro scale. On a macro scale, they postulated dark matter to basically explain gravitational lensing, and then on a micro scale, we have quantum mechanics.
Do you know what dark matter even is? And by the way,
Sean Carroll described it as invisible collisionless particles.
Look, quantum hypothesis.
Okay, now next, Steve. Steve, you asked me a question. Steve, you asked me a question. Steve, hold on. Steve, you asked me a question. Let me ask you a question. How can you falsify invisible collisionless particles?
Okay, very simple. Here's the thing. Look, do you agree that the only thing that we know of that can cause gravitational effects is mass?
Are you asking me? Are you answering my question?
I'm answering your question. No, I'm simplifying your question. So answer my question because it's.
So you're not going to answer my question.
I will answer your question, but you have to understand the question you're asking. You don't. Do you know what a lambda?
So you can't just directly answer my question. You just can't tell me how to falsify invisible collisionless particles.
You cannot falsify something unless you have properties for what you're trying to discover or what you're trying to observe. Okay. So do you accept the lambda CDM model?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Okay. Do you accept that dark matter is baryonic or non-baryonic?
No, I don't accept that.
Okay, so it's a dichotomy question. It's either baryonic or non-baryonic. It's yes or it's one or the other. Do you think that dark matter is baryonic or non-baryonic matter?
I don't know.
Okay. Do you know of anything other than matter that can change or have an effect for gravity?
Anything other than matter that can account for gravity?
Yes. What's the only thing that we know that caused gravity?
It would seem to be some type of emergent property of matter. I would agree with you on that standpoint.
Okay, matter. So if we look at a galaxy and we see stars spinning like this, and on the outside we see them spinning, and they're not spinning the way they're supposed to be spinning based on what we know about physics.
Right.
We can actually map. There's a gravitational effect in that galaxy, and we can't visually see it. It doesn't emit photons. That we call that, whatever that is, whatever that mass is that's producing those effects, because the only thing we know that produces gravitational effects is mass, we call that dark matter, because we can't fucking see it.
So how would you falsify that?
Well, what is it to falsify? We
So
know
you
something
can't falsify
exists.
it, so it's unfalsifiable.
What is there to falsify? We know you're saying, can you falsify that mass produces gravity when we've already seen mass produce gravity? We know there's something out there. We've observed it, just like we've observed changes in the orbit of Pluto or changes in the orbit of Neptune. We know that something's affecting it. What do you falsify with that? We see the changes. We know that something is affecting it.
I think part of the reason why people give so much credence to science is because they work with falsifiable things. That's why people, because the idea of God obviously for most people is unfalsifiable, but when science starts postulating things like dark matter that can't be falsified, then I feel like we're entering into a realm of religion and imagination.
No, hard time. The problem is you have no fucking idea about basic science. And
I have to agree.
As Brian just said, I disagree with Brian a little bit on this, but from a philosophical standpoint. Brian said observations are not falsifiable, theories are. I think observations can be falsified due to mental cognitive functions, but I get a gist of it, right? You don't falsify the fact we can see this changes up there that's produced by something, we're going to call that mass. Okay, and so when science learns things, right? 2,000 years ago, we didn't know the fucking heavens were expanding, right? We had no idea. We had no idea that there's accelerating due to dark energy. Science grows because of these things. Science likes to figure shit out. What science doesn't need is people like you who don't have a fucking shit from Shinola understanding of these things going in, oh my god, can you do this? Can you do that? Oh, do you need an experiment for that? All it does is cause fuckery and cause people to be That's all it fucking does.
From a person that believes in invisible, collisionless particles that he has not provided a way it can be falsified. You have not just simply answered the question, it can be falsified. And basically you just explain why it won't be falsified. You basically just explain why it won't be falsified.
Can you see something that doesn't emit light?
How do you know it's there if it doesn't emit light?
Because we see the effects, you dumbass! You fucking idiot!
Okay.
Imagine you're in a black room.
You don't even know if it's there. You say, oh, it must be there because
okay, again, you just admitted that the only thing that causes gravity is mass, and now you're saying, well, we see something that has a gravitational effect. How do you know it's mass? Because that's the only thing we have fucking observed. Do you have anything else that you could posit that other than mass and what it is?
Well, maybe our understanding of gravity is wrong, and we should reevaluate it.
That's not an answer. Other than mass, what is it?
Maybe it is.
Maybe that might be very true. Instead of reevaluating our understanding of gravity, we're just going to postulate invisible forces. More invisible collisionless forces.
Why do we need to change anything? We know mass causes something.
Because it's not working. You said it worked, but it doesn't work.
Why doesn't it work?
Because, like you said, the galaxies aren't spinning the right direction.
But we can see the effects. Wait. I really want to make you. I'm not going to strawman you. So if I see a perturbation in some orbit, like with Uranus, and we're trying to find Neptune, when they're seeing that, they go, "Oh shit, it's moving in a way that shouldn't move." Wait, let me finish. All of gravity is wrong, or should they say, "Hey, we should use this theory of gravity to try to see if we can predict what's causing it"? Oh shit, we just found Neptune.
I say reevaluate.
You're an idiot.
Right, well, that's your opinion.
All right, moving on. So,
and you
Michael,
believe in
Thank you very much. All right, Michael, go ahead. Your turn. You're up because I'm not dealing with more rhetoric. We're done for that for the night.
Anyway,
he can sit in here. He can shut the fuck up, or he can join the conversation, but no more rhetoric. All right. So, Michael, what do you have to offer that you could say shows a flat Earth?
Well, I have a very simple idea. For example, how many, can you tell me, anybody traveled in a train for, say, a day? Whole day on a train. Anybody did that trip?
No, I haven't.
I've done it
Maybe on a bus.
I don't have that sort of patience.
I once went on a car ride from New Mexico to New York City.
All right, what's your point?
So my point is, when you are... Another example would be sea. When the sailor comes from sea, he has difficulty walking on the land.
Yeah, I was in the Navy for 6 years. That's you have your called your sea legs, and the reason being is
you agree to that.
Yeah, you do.
Okay. Now going back to the rotation of the Earth. On equator, it is one figure. Say in United States, it's another speed. relative
You
speed.
think that's what
We
causes
cannot.
the sailor to walk weird?
No. Let me finish, please. So we have different speeds in space, right? You say we cannot detect Earth moving while we stay here, but when it will be changed, we will notice. So my question is, wouldn't it be like centers for rehabilitation when you fly from US to equator and you are now in a different relative speed? Your body would feel it like...
I can feel this.
Go ahead. Because I don't know that, to be honest with you.
It takes around an hour to fly there, so you haven't had that much of adjustment time, and I think you would feel it.
I've been on hour-long flights.
I can feel this for you, Michael, if you want. If you could teleport from one location to another, yes, you would have to deal with that. But since you're gradually changing your location over the surface of the Earth, you are also gradually changing your speed.
I mean, okay, gradually, but I'm changing, right? And when I'm out of the plane, I'm already on a different speed. For example, after that...
here's what you're missing, Michael. Here's what you're missing. The plane is also changing speed as you're traveling.
Yeah, the relative speed of the plane is changing as you're moving towards the equator.
Okay.
If you were to teleport, you'd feel it, but if you were to travel there, you wouldn't. And using the analogy of the boat doesn't necessarily apply, because it's not just when you're looking at the boat, your legs are adapting to a lot of motions, right? It's the motion of the ocean.
Right.
I'm not trying to prove anything yet. You just haven't finished listening to my idea.
Okay.
So when I travel a day in a train, it's like a day after I feel like I'm still on a train while I'm not, right? So if you say, I'm not teleporting, I'm just flying, it's 1 hour, 2 hours, no matter what. I spend my entire life in US. How long it will take me to adjust to a new speed, kind of that? Just a thought, just to think about it.
Again, you don't...
Anything.
Again...
Think of it.
Stop waffling. Stop waffling. Again, you don't feel speed. You feel changes in acceleration.
Yeah, why is that a concept lost on flat earthers? I mean, do you know that? Wait, hang on. Do you know the difference between like velocity and acceleration and like how they relate to each other?
And the importance of internal reference frames.
Have you done differential equations, or have you done anything with kinematics?
No. You don't need any equations.
No. You do need equations. That's believe me. When you take kinematics,
you need your body to feel. So
but you don't feel speed.
When you see sickness.
Senses
Michael,
can be full.
Since I was in the Navy, look at when you're moving. You're moving a lot.
You don't need
okay? Let me explain this to you. You're moving a lot because there's the motion of the ocean. Okay, you don't feel speed. What you feel is a change of vector. Do you know what a change of vector means?
Yeah.
I know what
okay. What's a change of vector?
You're changing direction of your movement.
Or there's two things that make up a vector.
I know.
Speed is just one of them. That's for magnitude, right? That's just your scalar quantity. What's the other thing that has to do with your makes it a vector? Anybody? Torpedo?
Acceleration.
What direction? So you have. So if I have, I mean, some people, most of it, I've took vector analysis. When you have a direction and you have a speed and you also have a angle. Okay, anything that changes either one of those, you're accelerating. Okay, a car that's going around a racetrack, it's constantly accelerating as it goes around around racetrack if it's round. Okay, so something that goes roundy, it's always accelerating. Okay, the moon is always accelerating around the Earth because it's constantly changing its vector. Okay, so that's what you would feel if the acceleration was such that I'm changing. All of a sudden, I'm going like this direction, and all of a sudden I start going in this direction. Right? That's what you're going to notice. But if it's a constant acceleration, you don't notice it. Only in a change of acceleration.
I'm talking about more of a human body, you know?
I'm talking about fucking basic
particular system.
So what you're asking is why don't we adapt
kind of
to the
motions,
speed?
like when you're in the sea, and you change it to another kind of motions and other vectors, like on the land. like absence of those that were
Because
in the sea. Your body fucking feels it.
But that has nothing to do with the shape of the Earth. That has to do with the fact the ocean is moving that ship, and people get seasick, and you're kind of like all over the place. You're going in multiple different directions, up, down, sideways, and all of a sudden you're like now put on a very stable surface. Sometimes, yes, it does take a minute to get your sea legs either way. Yeah.
Yeah.
But that has
Without
nothing to do
even
with the shape of
see
the Earth.
one day on a bus, and the second half of the half of a second day, I feel that fucking bus because that's why I hate traveling by bus to long distances.
So, I mean,
if all my life was one speed, then I changed speed suddenly. I should have kind of recreational centers all over airports, kind of to adjust.
Yeah, but the thing is you saying that you feel being on a bus for a day isn't really a great measure because there's some people who feel being in a car for 5 minutes, right? Some people get motion sickness much easier than others, and it's not an accurate measurement, right? You could be...
No, it's not just feeling being there, it's a change of,
No, but what I'm saying is
that's not an accurate measurement.
On a bus and not noticed anything.
But do you understand, Michael, that you're not going to feel anything on a bus that's moving at 50 miles an hour unless there's a bump or anything like that? You're not going to feel anything. You don't feel speed.
I'm not talking about the moment I am on a bus. I agree to that.
Even when you're
in the United States, I don't feel the motion.
We're spinning constantly.
But when I switch to equator, I should feel the difference.
So, Michael, we're spinning constantly. Should we notice that if we're spinning at a constant rate, no change of acceleration? Should we?
If the Earth were to stop, we'd fucking feel it.
If the Earth were to slow down abruptly to anything lower than what we're going now,
okay,
then,
do I change acceleration if I was traveling 500 miles per hour in space?
Again.
Answer the question first. Michael, answer the question first. If you're on a spinning ball and you're if you're spinning ball and you're at a constant velocity, you have no change to your acceleration, why would we feel that? We wouldn't.
I disagree with constant acceleration.
Then show us the physics.
If I change position on that globe, I change speed. And
again, you're standing still. Your
speed formula is acceleration. So what am I changing?
Yeah, you're staying in the same position. I'm not going to the equator right now. I'm sitting in a chair. Why is it that I do not notice that the Earth is spinning?
Because you do not change latitude, If you go extremely south, you will be moving at a different, greater speed.
Hold on.
Go ahead, Sean. He doesn't get this.
Michael, this is what is called the Coriolis force. And this is what we're trying to describe. If you could teleport from like the North Pole to the equator, you would be dead because you would be.
So that change of acceleration.
Because the change in the acceleration is so sudden. If you're traveling in a bus or a plane or a car, you're still fixed to the Earth as it's spinning. You are gradually changing speed as you change latitude. It is a very gradual thing.
What he's saying is that acceleration, guys. What he's saying is you do adapt to the change.
Well, what he's saying is there's incremental changes that over time the summation will be this much. Okay, but you're only doing it incrementally. What he's saying is if you teleported from here to here, right? You're no longer doing it incrementally. You have such a huge change of acceleration, you're going to get squashed. You're going to,
basically you're moving along the surface so slowly that you are adapting to the change in acceleration as you go.
So basically, they're explaining.
Okay, here's a good example. Here's a good example. Here's a good example. If I walk downstairs and I do it gradually, I'm not going to hurt myself. But if I jump and I don't have the stairs and I'm in free fall and I do it faster, I'm going to get screwed. Why? Okay, there's a differential there, right? Just like the differential in acceleration. But there's a differential in height, but if I do it gradually, it's okay. I don't notice it much.
Can I ask a question to smarter people than I?
Yeah.
Cool.
That leaves me out.
Well, I don't know about that. You're pretty smart.
I just make sure.
Philosophy and the logic down better than me for sure. If we were at the North Pole, let's say, in a really fast fighter jet, and we were to head towards the equator at a high speed, would the G-force or the pressure on the pilot be greater than if we were heading from the equator to the North Pole because of the change? What?
No.
Not at all?
No.
It's still changing gradually enough.
Yeah, I don't see why.
If you were changing altitude, maybe, but if you're not changing altitude, you shouldn't.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, G-force a G-force is literally like what you're doing.
That's what I thought.
In vector. But if you're just doing a gradual thing, you're not going to notice that.
Maybe if you're in a spaceship with warp engines, yeah.
No, I was thinking
people telling me I'm overthinking.
Like if you're at like faster than sound speeds kind of thing,
No.
I figured.
look at the SR-71 Blackbird.
Yeah.
Where do you quote this shit from? Where do you memorize this shit?
Yeah, and is that thing still around?
No, the SR-71 Blackbird? No,
it was decommissioned in 1998.
Yeah, that was back when the Skunk Works for the Lockheed Martin needed a runway for Area 51, so they commissioned that so they can get the SR-71 Blackbird and the F-117.
Yeah, but the SR-71 was literally the fastest of all jets. It moved at Mach 3.
Yeah,
cruising speed.
This means nothing to me. I understand none of your fucking fighter pilot jargon.
That thing.
I know nothing of your language.
That thing, if it were to fly at basically normal altitude for regular airplanes, would basically be cooking itself. They had to design the thing for high atmosphere, high speed flight, like re-entry sort of speeds.
Brian's
but the Blackbird is cruising.
I vote Brian.
Yeah, and so real quick, Michael, that was the only thing that was your only evidence of a flat Earth. I mean, don't you think that's pretty cheesy? Let's be realistic.
I wasn't about evidences or something because I've been through many hangouts and they kind of end up the same. I don't like it. If you don't see it, if you can prove a globe to yourself, I'm happy for you. I don't need to convert you something.
So wait,
I cannot prove it to myself.
Proved a flat Earth to yourself? Wait, I gotta hear this. You proved a flat Earth to yourself?
I don't know what shape it is, what the fuck we live in.
Okay, so I'm
not scared, to stand before the unknown.
So you're Earth agnostic.
Maybe. I don't know what it means.
NGC Studio. Steve, you and Aron Ra have done a great job this evening inspiring people toward a scientific method and practice. Thanks. And I appreciate that. Look, we all have our different ways of approaching these things. And I don't know if that's Dr. Jones or not on NGC Studios.
And I respect your opinion also, your belief.
Hang on.
I'll be right back.
Can I finish my goddamn sentence? Because I want to thank somebody in my live chat, because I do have a lot of respect for Dr. Jones. We don't always agree on Facebook a lot on a few things, but I have the utmost respect for the man. He's a genius. Jesus Christ, is he smart. And I love his show. And and he takes a different approach to these types of discussions, and I respect his approach. I don't think it works for me, and my approach doesn't work for him, but I think it takes a village. And I think for the overall net things that we have better conversations, and I think that the goal is to get rid of things like creationism and flat Earth, then I don't care the means by which you do it anymore. The ends justify the means in some regards. And I don't mean to go do stupid shit, but if you have to take an aggressive posture, I'm okay with that. Flat Earth is bullshit. It's absolutely fucking one of the most retarded things ever come around. The only reason people are buying into it is because they either fail out of homeschool, they don't bother to educate themselves, they go to YouTube and think that they're going to watch a YouTube video and understand concepts rather than go to ask people about concepts. For example, the question he had, he asked people like Sean who knows his
Landon, can you mute yourself?
I got it. So instead of trying to learn the concepts, you think that because you don't understand it, nobody else can, and it doesn't work that way. Most of the people in the world understand why the Earth is not flat. If you're not one of those people, then you have conceptual errors. The reality is not going to change for your conceptual errors.
You're so wrong there. In fact, so many bull earthers have no idea how the heliocentric system works, how gravity works.
But that's their own ignorance. You understand that? That's their own ignorance. That's their own ineptness to understand the material properly.
Yeah, but you say everybody understands, so you are wrong there.
No.
You're wrong. Yes, you're wrong.
What I said was anybody that knows the Earth, that normal people, flat earthers are not normal people. Okay, flat earthers are I'm talking about the average schmuckatelli.
Steve, right? Like, really?
Yeah,
Steve, don't worry. We have a lot of stupid people in our crowd too. They claim such ridiculous things. Impossible to even comprehend where they get it. Like that hovering helicopter, other stuff. We have enough ignorant people too.
Is that a stupid argument? Is the hovering helicopter stupid?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, because it is nowhere.
Actually,
It's again to.
Let's let Brian go.
Stupid.
So what, you know what? No, hang on, wait, 1 second. What we should do is, because part-time vegan thinks hovering is a good argument, Michael thinks it's a bad argument. We should have flat earther against flat earther.
Yeah.
Let's do it. Let no man survive.
Yeah,
Go ahead,
the
Brian.
world is diverse.
I
So
sacrifice
don't worry about it.
Brian, go ahead.
Okay. Michael, I'll explain this real quick, and I think I want you to understand where I'm coming from with this. When you get on a plane, from what I looked at online, planes go at 400 to 500 miles per hour. Is that correct? Planes are going 400 to 500 through the air? 600. So have you ever walked on a plane, like gotten up out of your seat and walked around and been able to kind of keep your balance and walk comfortably on a plane?
Yes, of course.
So that change to you are now traveling 600 miles per hour faster inside that plane than you were on the ground occurred over the course of just like minutes. The speed at the seconds. The speed the speed at the equator is 1,000 miles per hour from what I was looking at online, roughly 1,000 miles per hour when you break it down. So when you look at the rate of change at which you would be going to the equator, you change to 600 miles per hour, a change of speed when you get on that plane, and yet you're able to walk around on the plane. So it makes sense that if you are traveling to the equator at a much slower rate, that when you experience this 1,000 mile per hour change, which sounds like a lot, but over a very long period of time, and we're not even saying 1,000 miles per hour, because that would be going from 0 to the equator. The maximum change you could have is 1,000 mile per hour change, and it would have to occur over many hours, not just seconds. And yet,
I get it. You explain it like it goes gradually.
Yeah.
But I have one question to you. Have you ever experienced the effects I described? Like driving riding on a bus whole day, then the half of the next day you're still kind of like riding on something.
Michael, kind of
Have you ever experienced that?
Here's my response to that.
I need a person to drop. Aaron wants to get back in.
People, I think I can go now.
Okay, thank you, Mike. Yeah, that's right. You said
I'm not.
Hi, Michael.
I wanted to address
something. Good luck, people.
But I wanted to address his magnetism claim.
Oh, it's like, okay, really? Come on, it's like this. It's funny. You hear the same things from flat earthers all the time, and I think they're all idiots. But there are different degrees of idiocy. I will admit that there are flat earthers who are just.
Jeremy, it's the lowest degree.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's kind of like a metastable false vacuum as opposed to a actual vacuum. Is there really that much difference? Okay, well, Lander may get that joke, but the rest, fuck you.
Well, earlier on,
the smart guy.
Sorry, Sean.
About an hour ago, Michael, which I was really wanting to address, he said that the electromagnetic field is what's giving the directional force for things falling. There's a problem with that. It's very fundamental. Diamagnetism. If things are pulled to the Earth because of an electromagnetic field, anything that's diamagnetic would be repelled from the Earth. Yeah. This includes all water, all people, all animals, because they're mostly water. Water is repelled by magnetic fields.
Yeah, see, magnetism goes, has plus and minus. Gravity doesn't. I don't know of anything that's a negative gravity. It'd be kind of cool if they did. Welcome back. Did you finish your thing, or you just what?
Drink more.
Yeah.
You're muted.
You muted,
You're
and
a fast painter, my friend. A fast painter.
It got worse, Aaron. It actually got worse. We got into a level of fuckery that is just.
But it was calm fuckery. It was calm fuckery.
It was calm.
That's slightly more tolerable.
Everybody who argues for a flat Earth, all of them are insane, stupid. As the last guy I was talking to, he was not just insane; he was just brain fucking dead. He had no idea how to equate. He could not pinpoint himself on a map. If you were to show him a map, he wouldn't understand how to think in the abstract enough to put himself on that map somewhere. And I've met people like that, and he was one of them. There are some people who don't possess the. It's not just the training; they don't possess the basic requirements to think in any sense logically or abstract.
My theory is, Aaron, that they have about the intelligence level of a crow, which has been shown to have about the intelligence level of a 7-year-old.
So Aaron, I think part of the thing that you see with this flat Earth movement, part of it is simply people who are trolls, and partly it's a failure of our educational system. So the ones that are not simply trolling and putting on an act, I think one of the things we see is our educational system failed to give them enough basic knowledge to evaluate and to understand things, that they would willfully wallow in essentially ignorance that's been dismissed in the last 500 years amazes me. But there you go.
Well, it's like I said, that there's a number of people that there's a significant population, about half, that is walking away from rationality altogether, that think that they can make up their own reality.
So, do you think it's a failure of the general education system, or is it a failure of the fact, like, I know that a lot of the flat earthers tend to be in the U.S., there's definitely people outside of there. But do you think that that's sort of a byproduct of having, like, private schools that are basically an excuse to be a church and a school?
Well, you can say that it's a failure of the flat earthers' educational system, but not education worldwide or universal.
If we had an education system like Helsinki has, then we wouldn't be having this problem.
Or Sweden, even.
Yeah, but we are talking about people who, on some level, know that they're denying reality. There's no way that these people are looking at this objectively.
Yeah. Well, Aron, there's also the fact that there are certain people that are drawn to conspiracies, and there's a element, there's a slice of the flat earthers that are drawn to the round Earth conspiracy. But that's a different. And by the way, that's a different mental disease.
Aron, Landon was the one that actually called me from the South Pole. I don't know if you've met Landon before, but Landon is like literally one of the smartest people on the planet, and that's not hyperbole. He's seriously certified. But he was doing an expedition down there for meteorites, and he had an Iridium satellite, and we did tests. He did experiments. People were like, "Oh, do you have experiments?" He did experiments that the Earth is not flat. He did not fall off. He jumped up. He came back down. Gravity still worked.
Every time I go to the rotational pole, I try to see if I can fall off the Earth, and I fail.
Hey, Landon, can I ask you a question about Antarctica?
You at least get a little bit more hang time.
Hang on. What, Aron?
I know someone who is currently in their 70s who is taking a number of their grandchildren to the Antarctic for a family vacation. Seriously.
Aron, we're going in 2021.
Are you?
Yeah. So yes, there's a total solar eclipse, and I did the site survey for the eclipse path at Union Glacier, and there's an option from there to then fly to the South Pole. We're talking about the rotational South Pole. I'm a frequent visitor at the South Pole, which is.
You were a frequent visitor to the South Pole.
It does exist.
Correct.
How did you finance that?
Because Landon's super smart.
Because Landon is like literally one of the smartest people on the planet. They hire him for this shit.
He's got like how many mathematic records?
8 world records in math.
8 world records or something? Yeah, Landon's super smart.
Landon's a certified. He's a computer scientist, astronomer, mathematician, and I love to brag about him. He's like one of my great friends.
But yes, so in fact, I've also been to the North Pole as well, so I'm bipolar.
And he's good singers too. Look at that.
I'm also as an astronomer. I've measured. I with a colleague. I've twice measured the distance to the sun. One was during the 2004 transit of Venus. One was the 2012 transit of Venus. I've measured curvature of the Earth, basic distance. I've done the direct measurements. In part because as a child, I was little less than 2 years old. My first English sentence I spoke, first complete sentence was, "How far is the sun?" Because when I was 20 months old, I had a flat Earth concept, right? And I saw the sun setting on the horizon, and I wanted to know how far away the sun was. I could go see over the edge, and that's when I learned about, well, no, the sun's far away, and the Earth is round, and that was a real revelation to a kid, 20 months old. But it set off a quest, which helped me become an astronomer. And so measuring these things, it's been something that
Landon, can I ask you 3 questions about Antarctica?
Sure.
Did you go? Number 1, did you go with the National Science Foundation or on your own?
We were privately funded.
Okay.
And in fact, people that come along on our expeditions help essentially fund the search for meteorites.
Cool. Number 2, have you been to McMurdo?
Yes, although it's not the nicest place. It's fairly industrial. The nice thing about Antarctica, most of Antarctica, is it's clean and it's not noisy. It's a clean, pristine spot. And McMurdo has probably 90% of the Antarctic population. And believe me, that's not the place you want to. And also, by the way,
that's where we're going.
Is an island. Is actually an island off the coast of Antarctica. So not even on the continent.
We're going to McMurdo.
Landon?
Wait, I have one more question for Landon. When you were at McMurdo, did they let you use the Stargate?
I saw no Stargate at McMurdo.
Damn.
Damn.
Yes, Aaron. You went.
Landon, is there any way that you can advise me to get how I can get to this North Pole?
Yes, I would recommend, and probably the cheapest way that you can go is to join the Travel Quest expedition to see the total solar eclipse on January 4th, 2021. And then there is an option from Union Glacier, which is about 80 degrees south, to fly to the pole at 90 degrees south.
Okay, now you said Travel Quest expedition, and this is a serious question. So I want to make sure I get your answer down.
That's correct. Travel Quest International is working with ALE, which is the subcontractor that does the logistics. I did the site survey because I was at the South Pole this January of this year, and we looked, and we also did the run to the South Pole at that time. So probably the lowest cost is to work through ALE, where Travel Quest International is the prime contractor.
And what is ALE?
ALE is Antarctic Logistics Enterprises. So ALE is the people who have the airplane and have the staff, the doctors and the medical staff and so forth that is necessary to get to the South Pole.
Is this an option that we can offer to flat earthers?
Sure. It's not cheap, but
that's fine.
When you say lowest cost, what kind of cost are you talking about?
Well,
I'm sorry.
When we went to the South Pole in January of 2018, this year, it was $65,000.
Per person, or like for the entire thing?
Per person.
Per person. Okay.
$65,000 per person.
Per person.
Yeah.
Good luck with that.
I'm getting a Tesla E or Tesla 3 instead.
Yeah,
I'm getting a Tesla 3 at the end of this year because I decided I want to have you beta test it.
E? What?
Yeah, well, people like you are going to buy it ahead of me. I got early on the list, and I pushed myself to the bottom of the list so that I can have other people test it for me.
Okay, I'm not going to do the full-on autopilot. I love to drive.
And I don't trust the full-on autopilot. I want to be responsible.
Yeah,
I can appreciate it, but the cost to go to get on ice, and that's at Union Glacier, will be somewhere in the neighborhood of about $25,000 to see the eclipse.
Okay, so I just want to verify that we have a falsifiable arrangement that we can say to the flat earthers that they can pool all their money together, all of them, and they can come with me to Antarctica for only $130,000.
Yeah,
sounds about right.
Good, they can cover my ticket and theirs.
Sounds about right.
Absolutely, but I must say that it is an amazing place. And when we're going to Antarctica, we're not talking about a ship off the coast looking at penguins and a shoreline. We're talking about in the deep interior and go right to the rotational pole.
No, I'm expecting something ridiculous. I'm expecting to have no ozone protection at all. I'm expecting 170 degrees below zero.
Well, what you'll find is yes, you're under the ozone hole, so you need to be covered up because the ultraviolet light is extraordinarily strong. You're not only high altitude, clear air, but you're also under the ozone hole. And temperatures we experienced at the South Pole were around minus 52, and with wind. So but mostly the issue you face is altitude. If you don't have experience with altitude,
Two questions, Landon. Two questions. One, you had to cross the South Pole to get to the actual pole, right? You actually had to cross it because somebody has suggested you just like magically teleport down there or something. I don't know how that works.
How do you verify that you're at the South Pole?
Well, that's actually a good question because one of my jobs is to find the South Pole within a centimeter, within a thumb's distance. And so we use several processes to do that. We use one of them is differential GPS. One of them is a sextant doing the altitude of the sun. One of them is the drift line from previous known South Poles. And then we also perform experiments.
I'm noting these down because I'm gonna make a post about these later.
Sure.
Okay, so 3 different methods. One of them is a sextant.
Yes.
One of them is what?
A differential GPS.
Differential GPS.
Yeah.
Now these all need to be concordant, right?
Because for example, the difference between normal GPS and differential GPS is it's got several several receivers, and you're able to get within about a several centimeter precision of that spot. And then the other thing is that the stakes of where the South Pole has been recorded before give you a drift line. Most of the motion of the South Pole with respect to the surface is due to ice motion. There's motion to the continent. Antarctica is a continent that's experiencing continental drift relative to the grid. And third is changes in Earth's inertia inside, being a wobbly, wiggly planet.
I just found out that Geistview, a friend of mine and a moderator, he's actually I knew he was going there. I didn't know he was actually there. He's actually at the South Pole now. I don't know how far away. He's south of.
Is he really?
Yeah.
Well, he can't be because that would mean he's on the edge of the Earth.
Yeah. So
tell him to touch the ice.
Tell him to be careful not to fall off. Okay.
Yes.
Although I'm embarrassed to say
It's a conspiracy. Illuminati confirmed.
Some of the pictures they've used of ice walls have been photographs that I've taken, because there are some amazing ice structures that I've taken pictures of. But
Steve, can you tell him to be careful not to fall off the side and then
I think he brought a harness with him to make sure he doesn't have,
excellent.
fall
Make
off
sure
on the
it's
side.
ocean rated.
So, Landon, I got the sextant, I got the differential GPS. What was the third method?
A drift line. So there are known previous locations where the South Pole rotational axis has been identified, and you also can correlate that with a drift line. There's a general drift line that the drift of the South Pole is not erratic. It's actually a fairly consistent spot. There's a little bit of curvature, but it drifts about 10.2 meters a year, and there's a slight curve to the spot. So, for example, there's a ceremonial pole where the South Pole was back in '58, and you can see lines of stakes from that spot to where it is now. It's about a half kilometer away from the ceremonial pole.
Okay.
All right. Landon, I got a dumb
I just
question.
want to make sure that we have a falsifiable option that we can throw out to the flat earthers, so that they can verify the South Pole within a centimeter.
There's another thing you can do, which is very, very fun, is use, and we use it it doesn't identify the South Pole within a centimeter, but it shows the effect of the rotation of the Earth. We took, for example, a 20-gram weight that was in Tokyo weighed 20.000001 grams, and we brought it to the South Pole, and it weighed 20.008 grams. That is, you can see a change in weight because you no longer have the centrifugal forces at the equator acting on those weights. When you move to the South Pole, you lose all that. The final thing is you can build a Foucault pendulum. We did that in the well of a stairwell at the base, at the Scott base, and you can see that also turn.
All right, I want to make sure that I want to produce a blog post to get the flat earthers to cough up some money, to put money where their mouth is, so to speak, so that they can verify for themselves. And I know what will happen if they send their favorite champion and their champion goes to the South Pole and proves that there is no edge of the Earth there, that person will automatically be written off as part of the conspiracy.
They've been converted, yeah.
Yeah.
And I know what that'll do, but I want to make this a two-person challenge because I want to go to the fucking South Pole.
It is an amazing, beautiful place, and it's also incredibly emotional to get there. It's a spot where, admittedly, very very few people get to see. But
Landon, can I ask you another question? It's a transportation one. When you're going to Union Glacier, you go by ground or you go by helicopter?
We go by airplane. We fly
airplane.
from the tip of South America, Punta Arenas, Chile, to Union Glacier in Ilyushin 76. It's a Russian cargo plane that's very good for going from cool to
What
cold
did you
weather.
say it was? What kind of plane?
Ilyushin 76, IL-76. And I have pictures of that on
they're going to say that that's illusion and it's close to Lucifer, so it's part of the experience.
No, it's an illusion.
Yeah,
it's illusion, as in the illusion island, island chain. It's a Russian name. That thing. So illusion 76.
Traveling on an illusion.
I caught that, but they would say that it is an illusion.
Sean, I think you had a question too.
And then you use from Union Glacier to the South Pole. You use a DC-3.
Well, I was going to ask Landon a question because I know that some expeditions actually hire staff on. Yep. So the next time you actually get the trip to go down and actually survey out where the geographic South Pole is, can you hire Jaron to be the ceremonial pole polisher?
I'm sure he has a lot of practice at it.
Ceremonial pole polisher. Well, yes.
Ceremonial pole polisher. So I got a question for you because it got brought up earlier, and I gave an answer, and maybe if you kind of weigh in on it. Part-time vegan thinks it's a weird answer to think that when he asked if there was no gravity, there'd be no black holes, and I'm like, well, there'd be no black holes. If there's no gravity, there'd be no stars. There'd be no planets. There'd be pretty much not much of anything.
There'd be no us.
There would be no us. So would you agree that if gravity did not exist, black holes wouldn't be a thing?
Correct.
Okay, so why? So part-time vegan. Why? Here's the guy.
Most of the people talk about.
Here's the guy that is an actual astronomer. I mean, he had the ear of Stephen Hawking. Okay, he has the ear of Leonard Susskind. This is a no joke motherfucker, and so why?
Did you actually speak with Leonard Susskind?
Sure.
He has the ear of very smart people. I'm saying he's like one of the smartest people on the planet. I'm not. I
think I have a man crush.
Yeah, because Hawking and I would talk about the issue about the information flow across
like my man crush on Aron
boundaries and ways to try and verify the existence of Hawking radiation.
I was in Cambridge a couple of months ago.
Oh yeah.
And I was told that I could meet Stephen Hawking. I've been promised for the longest time that I would get an opportunity to meet Hawking. And then when I was in Cambridge, I was told that his health was not good and I could not meet him. And of course, it's a month later he actually died. So obviously very...
I haven't reached out to Susskind yet. I've been meaning to. I think that we were trying to save it for the NonSequitur show when it got bigger. Now it's getting bigger, so now it's a great time. So Landon said that I could actually use his name or whatever to try to get Susskind in. If you're interested in that, Aron, that'd be great. I mean, if you wanted to.
Yeah.
I'm a huge fan of Susskind.
And just out of my own selfish ridiculousness, I want, if there's any possibility at all to pull that bucket list item of going to the South Pole, I want to know that I can. I was so furious when Krauss went, and I couldn't. He didn't even go to the South Pole. He just went to Antarctica.
Yeah. Well,
I'm sorry. Oh shit. I'm sorry. I just muted you, Landon. You have a lot of background noise. I thought you were done talking. You're gonna have to mute and unmute because if not, people can't hear.
Yeah, Landon. If there's any way we can establish an email contact after this, that would be great. If that's possible.
Are you want to, for example, you can direct message me on Twitter, and I can give you.
I'll give you his contact
information.
Thank you.
He's also in the Discord.
Well,
by the way, Aron, I really appreciate a lot of stuff you do about evolutionary biology and so forth. I'm not a biologist, but I really enjoy the education you've been giving me about biology and phylogenetics and all that cool stuff.
Thank you so much.
if you guys want to know this, Landon actually spends a lot of time in the Great Debate Community Discord channel, and that channel is actually streamed to another channel that we have called the Great Debate Community. That was the one that Aron had his after show with G-Man and the cat. That channel. So go subscribe to that one as well. But Stater here is also an admin for the Discord. So if you want to be a part of the Great Debate Community and be able to talk to people like Landon in real time on the Discord, or even Aron or whatever, sign up. I mean, go to the Discord and it's fine. Landon's in there like a lot actually.
At least once a week.
Yeah.
At least.
But Aron, if you want to go to Antarctica or the South Pole, we can figure out how to get you there. It is highly recommended. It is an extraordinarily beautiful place. It's an amazing scientific place, and there are amazing people down there. You'd love it. Highly recommended.
Can I ask you something?
I've already met enough of my bucket list items that if I die now, I'm content.
No, you need Antarctica.
But I want to get Antarctica.
I would have no
Would
desire.
you film it and then put the films on your channel?
I don't like cold. I don't think I would ever want to go to the South Pole.
I'm from Canada.
I love cold, man. I love cold, man.
It's like I love
rather
space, but
warm
I don't
up
want to
than
go
cool
into
down.
space. Unless I'm something like the Enterprise, I don't want to go into outer space. I don't want to be like a little fucking Gemini capsule or whatever. No, if I have the new next generation Enterprise, I'm okay with that.
Would you wear a red shirt if I put you on the Enterprise?
I do. I've never wear a red shirt.
Funny thing. It's a funny thing. I hate roller coasters. I like to be in control. I can't be a passenger in a fucking car because I have these control issues. So I hate roller coasters.
Yeah, I'm the same.
That says a lot.
But I would board a fucking rocket.
No, I wouldn't. I'm just not my thing.
I would let them rocket
Steve,
even if I would never come back. I'm that guy.
I've been in an ultralight where I wouldn't get on a fucking roller coaster, but I would get in a 300-pound airplane that I'm piloting.
That would be kind of fun. That would be a little bit different. I could see an ultralight. Yeah.
Anyway, so with Antarctica, the temperature is not so bad. I mean, the modern gear, you can stay reasonably comfortable, and if the temperatures bother you, just measure it in degrees Kelvin. It feels warmer.
There you go.
But it's the altitude.
In the summer.
That's the thing that probably you hit more is altitude.
Really, is the altitude significant?
What kind of elevation are we talking about?
Well, the barometric pressures that you get, barometric equivalent pressures is around 12 to 15,000 feet.
Oh,
geographically, it's around 10,000 at the South Pole, but because of centrifugal forces, the atmosphere bulges the equator and flattens at the pole. You get a higher equivalent altitude. A little bit of diamox, and it's okay.
Okay, I'm pretty sure I've been 10,000 feet. So maybe 15,000 wouldn't be that bad.
That's fine. I mean, it depends on the barometric pressure. I mean, if you're there at a high pressure zone, you'll get around 12,000 feet or so. It's not.
If there's any way
so
that I can actually do this, I really seriously will do this.
You need to.
I'm serious. I highly recommend it. So, Steve will give you my contact information. I'll get you.
I've sent it to you on
about how to go.
already.
Anyway.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I was going to mention the part-time vegan.
Yeah.
You should really check out My Little Pony. It's a really awesome show.
What?
No, kill yourself.
Well, with that, I'd love to ask Leonard a question that's a bit of a non sequitur.
It's gone on too long. My Little Pony needs to end.
Can I ask Landon one question, then I'll...
Well, hang on. No, hang on. Dave was just asking him a question. Hang on.
Oh, sorry.
I heard you mentioned that you don't quite trust the automation of the Tesla cars. And so my question is this. Do you think that the global community is doing enough to address proactively the problems that could be caused by automation in general over the next 15 to 25 years regarding jobs and the fact that it's predicted many of them are going to disappear?
I mean, the people that I work with that are working on automated cars, tell me that technology is improving. They're doing, it's improving a great deal. When I said I don't trust it, it's more, I mean, it's like Aron said, I prefer to be in control. So I want to be responsible. If I crash a car, I want it to be my fault, not, a computer's fault.
Yeah.
I mean, even outside of like the general consumer use, just in the area that it's predicted a lot of automation is going to take over the job market in general, not just cars, but I imagine that like long haul transportation, things like that, are probably going to be taken over.
It's significant that Elon Musk himself warned against the dangers of AI.
Well, yeah, and a lot of people seem to be kind of suggesting that we need to create sort of some kind of a mandatory minimum income for people and whatnot to sort of like protect against the fact that it's not that people aren't going to want to work, there just won't be jobs for them to do it, even if they're qualified.
I'm talking about something different, and while that is what you're saying is absolutely true, automation is going to create a situation very, very soon where it's not going to be possible for people to go out and get a job because there literally won't be any jobs to get.
Yeah, so that's what I'm kind of talking about.
The trucking industry is entirely automated, as are all of the cabs and taxis.
That's 25% of the economy right there.
Exactly. Right? So there's not going to be a way for people to just go out and get a job. But the worst thing, Elon Musk was not talking about that. He was talking about the danger of automation. No, I'm sorry. He was talking about the danger of AI.
Yeah, just general artificial intelligence.
Because artificial intelligence has the ability to be exponential.
Yeah.
And we're talking about Terminator 2 here.
Potentially.
Yeah,
depending on what system.
I don't know if AI is ever going to become self-aware, but there's always that potential.
Even if it doesn't become self-aware, if
problems.
It governs everything and it makes its own decisions.
Right. That's what I was going to say. It doesn't have to have self-awareness to make decisions, and that, for example, in the whole car thing, right? Self-driving vehicles, and this goes into philosophy. Actually, it goes to the whole trolley problem. Exactly. Yeah. So if one of the solutions that they're coming up with is having the trolley problems kind of be absolved by the person driving the car making the decision ahead of time, saying, "Look, if this situation happens, then this," and they kind of give the guidance. If somebody's life or mine, then you know what, sacrifice mine for that person. They make those kind of moral decisions. But then it gets into the whole, well, if somebody finds that out, it can be used against them. Like, look at this person. He says if there's 100 people ahead of him and the car has to make a decision between his life and 100 people, he's going to choose 100 people. What a bastard. You know, I mean, so there's a lot of problems when it comes to this philosophical questions, and that's one of the reasons why we talk about the trolley problem. The perfect example of how that's applied is the automation of cars.
Yeah, and I mean, it's not just like there's huge ethical issues and philosophical problems, but there's also the economic problems. Like how do we address that in your estimate? I mean, math and whatnot. Is there a way that you think that we can address the issue of even economics and financing when
there's another thing too, because we have algorithms in our social media, which can tell us all anything they know we already want to hear.
And so a bubble.
It's all too easy to manipulate us. They already know how we're going to vote before we vote, so it's a mindless system can determine which way they want this bias to go and can artificially implant whatever it wants as the outcome of any election. And that's to say nothing of some of the more simple things that it could orchestrate. So just being in charge of our social media, let alone our vehicles and our automated factories and all of that.
And yet the social media couldn't predict the idiocy of Trump.
I could.
I could too.
It wasn't hard, man.
I think we all did.
Every single time he was asked what he would do to make something better, he'd say, "Oh, it's going to be the best. We're gonna have the best academy. We're gonna have the best military. I'm gonna build you the best wall. I'm the best. I'd fuck my daughter."
But you know what is funny is he kind of reminded me of Flat Earther. He had all this stuff he said, but he didn't have any way to implement anything. It's like he never had any models.
Yeah. I remember saying, as a matter of fact, I made a public statement. If you nominate Hillary, you will elect Trump.
Oh, I agree with that. I thought the exact same thing. I said, look, there's going to be backlash. I even said Trump's probably going to win only if because Hillary is running. But if they would have elected anybody other than Hillary for nomination,
Bernie, man.
Hey, I'm crazy.
Hillary went on stage and insulted Russia.
I like Bernie's platform, even if he wasn't right on
Bernie would have annihilated Trump. I know I get a lot of backlash for that to this day. People said no.
I agree with you there.
But I'm going to stand by that for right now. I think Bernie would have annihilated it.
I had a burn.
I do too.
Now, I've had complaints with Obama, for example. You know, I have a tendency, or the ability at least, to weigh positives and negatives, and I can express the things that Obama did that pissed me off, the things that disappointed me about his decisions, and I can weigh those against the positives, and he still comes out as a net positive. He's not what I hoped he would be.
I agree.
Yeah, but Trump is exactly what I expected him to be. A fucking nothing.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, Obama was much better than Bush. I disagreed with some of Obama's decisions on drone striking policies and a couple of the executive decisions that he made. But
they
overall,
all suck.
he was a net positive.
Yeah,
right?
I didn't like Clinton either, by the way, and I voted for Clinton.
I haven't liked any of our presidents.
Although he can
since
play
I was born, to be honest.
Yeah, I voted for Bill Clinton and then realized shortly after how I'd been scammed.
Yep. Well, I mean, he's on that sort of corporate sort of toe the line kind of politics.
I felt that because I hate to say it, but I turned 18 during the election and I voted for Trump, and now I regret everything.
I'd say Landon for president.
Bruh.
Yes, Landon for president. Hey, Steve.
I can't say that I regret my vote for Clinton because look at the options.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean,
I think that Clinton was still the better option at the time.
Yeah.
My options were don't vote or vote for Trump. I wasn't voting for a lady who literally insulted Russia.
By the way, I want to commend you for running for office. You know, I ran for office and held public office as well, and I think that is something. If more people did that, we would have fewer bogans in office.
Can I keep running on? I know that it's the odds are against you, but just keep doing it, just because.
What I'm going to do is, and I was in politics just long enough to know that I don't want to be in politics. It's not, I like
it's not easy, right?
Yeah, I mean,
you contributed.
Thank you. I was happy that this time around that the Democratic Party presented somebody that had better qualifications and a better chance than me and would actually do a better job than me. And so I don't have any objection, and I voted for that guy.
That's cool.
The Justice Democrats or whatever the party is doing pretty good.
The Justice Democrats pissed me off because they refused to mention my name. They did. The Jimmy Dore show, the Young Turks, I mean, Kyle Kaczynski, nobody would mention my name.
I know. I was annoyed at that too.
I want to point something out because
I will say, Aaron, I sent an email to Kyle Kaczynski about that. I was like, why aren't you mentioning Aaron?
I want to point something out because Hannah Anderson makes a good point that I am agreeing with, and I don't think the president has that much to do with jack shit. I think that when people, if they want to do change, it needs to be at the congressional level, it needs to be at the senator level, it needs to be those kind of things, and even lesser. I mean, even at gubernatorial or state level, and so I don't think if we have Trump or we have Bush or we have in the big picture. It's not that big a deal.
Yeah, the next will happen. I am going to run for school board.
At the local level, it's a lot of value in running there too.
Yes, exactly.
I haven't made a concrete decision, and I don't know the details about that yet, and I have to say that for legal purposes. But that is what I suspect that I'm going to do.
And I think that's a great thing to do. I think that more people should do it. Absolutely.
Go for it.
Yes, sir.
I'm going to be taking off, and that way someone else can join.
Thank you, Turner.
Bye.
Yeah, I ought to bow out, too, and thank you for inviting me in. Landon, I will be in touch. Like I said,
thank you very much. It's great to talk to you finally, and thanks again for your education on phylogenetics. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, we're gonna be ending this soon. We're gonna wrap it up. It's getting late, so I can't talk very loud. But before we do, we'll get some closing thoughts in. And Aron, thanks for joining once again. We'll find something a little more interesting next time for a discussion with you on the show.
I got to ask you a question, McRae. What do you have behind you?
Well, I have a blue screen, but I have a drape that I have a green screen too that I was trying to do different things. So like when I use XSplit, I can like look like God looking down, and I have this. It's like a blue sky, and then it's kind of has this image just as my face with these angel wings.
So if you were to turn
Yeah,
around,
he has a sort of deity image.
This is my bedroom.
Yeah, I'm seeing a textured pattern behind you, and if you turn around, you can't touch that, can you?
No, it's I can touch it. This is actually a real thing. This is actually a blanket.
Okay. Likewise, I have a black screen behind me.
I couldn't afford an actual black screen. I did get something that was green that would drape over it, and I've been trying different things out.
Atheist soul.
Yeah. What's that, Aaron?
Behind this black screen, there is a green screen. It's just the green screen is 8 or 9 feet behind this black screen.
Gotcha.
And so it looked like you had So I pull this aside when I want to record.
Yeah, I've been trying different things. I've been trying to use XSplit, and if you go like a Holy Kool-Aid's channel, when he interviewed me, you'll see like one of the things I was trying out.
Okay.
Just type in Holy Kool-Aid, Steve McRae, and you'll see the.
All right. Well, Landon,
because you know Thomas.
I will be in touch, and McRae,
thank you.
Thank you, Aaron.
All right.
I'll try to get in touch with you too, Aaron.
Thank you so much.
So, like I said, wrapping this up, we had almost did we break 1,000? I think we had 1,000 people watching that show. That was
at some point
impressive.
I think we peaked to 1,000 around.
Yeah, and we had about 200, 300 people watching this one. So, I'm humbled that people like the Non-Sequitur show. They like having these after shows, and that people like Aaron and Landon can come in and have these conversations. I think it gives access to the people that we grew up watching, kind of thing. I was a big fan of Aaron and the Living Dinosaur who come in, or now we have Holy Kool-Aid and Rachel Oates are going to be the superstars coming up in the next couple of years. So I'm finding it to be, a humbling experience because I love watching people make a difference, and I think that the skeptic community has made a difference, and I think that I don't know why Flat Earth still has a foothold. I don't understand it, but I'm not going to stop fighting against them. I know that everybody in here is not going to stop fighting against that fuckery. And Midnight Sparkle says to Steve McRae, tell Landon he's awesome. Yeah, we all know Landon's awesome.
Oh, thank you.
Who doesn't like
it? And by the way, if you have a
Steve,
chance,
your nose is brown.
I love
Landon. If you have a chance, consider becoming a Patreon as well.
Yeah, I appreciate it. We have Patreon for my channel, which is in the video description. We also have Patreon for the Non-Sequitur show for the work that both Kyle and I do. So either one.
Or super chats. You can do that.
Yeah, my Patreon is not that bad for right now for my channel. So if you want to be a Patreon, do it for the Non-Sequitur because, obviously that split that with Kyle and for all the work that he puts in for that graphics. So I'd rather have somebody be a Patreon right now for the Non-Sequitur show. And if they want to do super chats or PayPal for this, that's fine as well. But I try to read all the questions and it's very much appreciated, humbly so. So be part of the Great Debate community. The links to join the Great Debate community is in the video description and the Discord. We're trying to make it a little more active in the Discord. A lot of people are coming over from other Discords because they're having issues with certain people that just a white noise, and I don't want that to happen in the Discord. I want an actual conversation. So I'll figure out something. Yeah. Dude, I can't do anything with Debbie. I'm just done with Debbie. I know we're gonna keep bringing her back. I know she's loved. People are like, "Oh my God,
loved."
Yeah,
you gotta use serious heavy air quotes on that.
Yeah, loved. I'm telling you, she is a draw. People want to see more Debbie.
I had an encounter with her.
I don't fucking know. I'm not one of those people.
Bro, I hate Debbie so fucking much.
She adds nothing to her dialogue.
No, she just yells at you a lot, and she interrupts like I do a lot, but she doesn't apologize.
Hashtag no more Debbie. Exactly, Quickie. Hashtag no more Debbie.
No more Debbie. Fuck Debbie.
No more Debbie.
Debbie is the only person in the GDC I actively hate.
Is she in the GDC?
Well, I don't think she is anymore.
Okay.
She used to be.
Something intoxicating about Debbie.
I've got to say too that it's a real pleasure to see smart people come together, like Aaron, who knows his biology, and Landon, who knows math and a host of other things, and have both of them be able to say, "Oh wow, I'm really impressed by your work. I love what you do," because there's a difference and a diversity of skill sets, and that people are humble enough to like acknowledge that, have a fair
and they're willing to teach. They don't treat you like an idiot if you have a legit question. I mean, if it doesn't matter what you believe, you're flat earther, Christian, atheist, doesn't fucking matter. If you have a legit question and you go to Landon and say, Landon, I don't understand this concept about black holes. Can you tell me about Hawking radiation or something like that? He's going to do it. It may take him 5 hours, but he's going to do it.
That's how you educate people. You don't educate people by just insulting.
Yeah, one thing you're never going to hear from Landon is a very succinct answer.
But that's fair though. It may not be succinct, but it's certainly fucking precise.
Oh yeah. Well, we're going to be having a hangout coming up here at some point. I have to schedule it on the normal if pi is a normal number or not. And I find it to be a very interesting question. And if you don't know what that means, it's probably not what you think it means. Whether pi is a normal number or not, it has to do with the distribution and frequency of the digits. Whether it was 1 over the reciprocal of b to the n or something, Landon? What's the distribution for the...
Are you thinking in terms pi is a normal number to integer basis, yes.
Yeah, okay. So there's a lot of ramifications if it's a normal number or not, and so I and a couple other people wanted to sit down with an actual mathematician and determine, why does it matter whether it's for normal or not, and what makes it so difficult to determine? Because that's that's unresolved right now, right?
Well,
not known. It's not known, but it's hypothesized that it's normal.
Okay, right. Well, I think the leading thing is that it's normal, but it hasn't been. If somebody proved that, would that be a millennial project? I mean, would that be something they would win a Fields Award for, or what? Fields Medal? That'd be a big thing, wouldn't it?
It would. They would have to be young enough to get a Fields Medal because you're age terminated if you're not. If you're too old.
Right, but I mean, it'd be a big accomplishment, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think so. It's not as big as some things, but yes, it's normal numbers are hard to prove.
Now, if you did,
are we not sure that pi is like an infinity of sorts?
Well, it's an infinitesimal expansion, but the normal aspect of pi has to do with the distribution of numbers, whether it's how the digits are distributed. And if it's a normal number as opposed to an abnormal number, then I always get these backwards, so correct me. Any sequence of number can exist in there, such that it would have like the entire works of Shakespeare in there.
In pi.
In pi.
We know that pi is a transcendental number, which means one of the impacts is that when you encode pi in any rational base, it's non-repeating and infinite. Mm-hmm. Of course, pi in base pi is just 10, so that doesn't really count.
If you were to take pi and convert it into binary, has anybody ever found useful code that would translate into anything recognizable at this point?
Well, pi is useful if you want a pseudo-random sequence. Pi in binary is a nice pseudo-random sequence.
Oh, there you go. So once we started talking about math, people were leaving anyway. So we know how it goes. We know how it goes.
Well,
it happens. It happens.
Well, Steve, if you want entertainment, I can trigger you.
No, you're not. Okay, thanks.
I'll be in Discord for about an hour.
If you want to ask Landon that question, he'll give you some. He'll spend a couple hours talking to you about it.
Steve, Steve, understand? I actually agree with you. I just like to trigger you.
I know you do.
Oh, before we go, I want to ask Sean one thing.
What's that?
Are you aware of any footage that's been shot on a high altitude balloon that's had a camera that's mounted with like a rotation controlled gimbal?
No.
Is that achievable?
It is achievable. I would suggest that if people want to set up a high altitude balloon again, that they find a way to extend the battery life on a drone that actually has an automatic gimbal on it, like say a Mavic Pro.
Yeah.
And actually just have it sitting on a platform.
Could you just have a battery in the basket of the balloon and attach it somehow?
Well, no, because it's a smart battery system. The battery actually has a computer built into it.
Okay.
Well, you're gonna have to continue this off air because I gotta end the hangout. So,
okay. Steve, can I ask Landon one thing?
You can ask me anything you want, but can we do it off air?
Sure.
Okay.
Okay.
So, anyways, good night, guys. Tomorrow we have the gun discussion at 7:00 Pacific time. Then don't forget on Friday the roast of Ken Hovind, and that's going to be at 8 p.m. Eastern.
Be there for his roast?
No, he's not going to be there. No, I can invite him.
You should invite him.
Oh yeah, you know what? I think it's ethical to invite him, so we'll invite him. But I can tell you right now, I've seen some of the videos. Holy shit, are they good? I am talking fucking grade A material. So don't miss it. And if you want to be a part of it, and you have some, like if you're a content creator and you have a channel and you have videos, let me know. Send it to me or send it to Kyle, and we'll get that going. And one more thing, we have a person. Do you guys know who Rags is?
Yep.
I love Rags videos, dude.
Yeah, Rags is going to be a guest on the NonSequitur show. I believe on the, I think it's on the 16th, and he's got 250,000 subscribers. How do you like that? So
yeah.
Anyways, guys, thanks for watching, and
Thanks, Steve.
comments what you think, and if you got any questions, let me know. Okay, good night, guys.